Hello, how are you today?
Good, good.
What's the Morbius check this week?
No dice.
Ah, no,
That's
come
probably gonna
on,
stay.
it's sweeping the nation. It's trending every day.
I mean, look, man. That
Every day is a Morbius sweep.
I don't know if I'm gonna catch that one while the meme is still in season.
I don't know. It's really going. It's like it's ongoing.
I feel
I
like
loaded up yesterday in an FF14 raid, and fucking six of the people started asking other people in the fucking 24 man, is everyone ready to morb?
yeah, I feel like the those at the epicenter of the morb drop are have now tired of it, but I do feel that the wave is still reaching out and crossing the globe. The morb wave is still moving outwards, but the
Sweet.
epicenter has gotten
Mm.
quiet. Um, yeah, more check
Oh,
off for
I don't
this
know,
week.
man. Oh
Um,
no.
but just no, not too much. Just week a bit of week of bullshit, to be perfectly honest.
Oh no.
Not a ton of uh things, but like for example, last Friday rather, my editing PC exploded, and
Oh
it
no.
did that thing where it's like it's time for me to go now,
It's time to die.
and you're like, cool. Well, I don't I don't go into I don't dust off the old, like, get in there gloves too often, but um all right, let's set up shop, let's open up the case, let's look at what's going on, let's do a fucking diagnostic. And it's like, oh, okay, this seems pretty straightforward. You rip it open, looks like the power supply looks like that died or so. Okay,
It's
cool.
always the power supply with me. That's literally the same thing I've run into like 10 times.
And like looks like I'm getting a light off of the motherboard, so we're still seem to be okay on that. Go get new power supply, install that, do all the wiring up, put it back, and still nothing. And it's like, what the fuck's going on? Um, this take it apart, take a look again,
Yeah.
and okay, now the motherboard is fried. Well, that
Oh
sucks because the
good.
light was on a moment ago. So
Glad it waited to determine that until after you came back.
yeah, and so at that point, I'm just like, I don't have time for this. So that's where I call in someone that can come in and help get things going, because the process needs to we need to have I need to have it able to get the episodes out pretty quickly, because everything that
Yeah.
I'm streaming has a very tight turnaround from the day it streams
Hmm.
till when it pops up live. So anyway, just computer foibles and bullshit.
That reminds me of the last time I had a very similar issue. The power supply went, and I delayed my shit by a couple days. And a nice man drove to my house, picked up my computer, went home, fixed it, and came back. And I
Hmm.
paid him like $200 or whatever it was plus the part. And I was inundated with people going, "You can just fix it yourself. It's
Hmm.
no problem. It's
Hmm.
not hard." And it's like, I know enough about personal computer repair that it's not hard until it is. And the difference between whether or not it's going to be a quick fix or a serious problem is impossible to determine until, as you discovered, you fucking put replaced a piece yourself and went,
Hmm.
oh, it still doesn't work.
Yeah.
And also, in our particular situations, if this thing dies, ain't no work happening.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing.
I just asked you, is that the same
Yeah,
person?
give me a second. It seems familiar.
Okay. Well, in any case, yeah, I basically just hit a point where I'm like, look, I realize I'm like, I know I can pull this whole thing apart and do a full piece check
Yes, it
on
was this
everything.
guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
you
right
called the
on.
same guy.
Shout outs to KSK Computers, friendly gentleman, came right over within
Put it in the
that same
trunk of his
day.
car.
Yep. And just kind of went, okay, here's what's up. And I'm like, and basically just went like, looks like you're gonna like is either wait to order old, parts that are older to replace it, or just get new shit. And I was like, yeah, just get the new shit and transfer it over. And so um, basically just managed to get the problem solved, and I have a new editing PC up and running within, and it was within 24 hours. So I really appreciated that. So
Yeah, it was the same thing. I called those guys, and he picked it up, and he's like, could take 2-3 days. And then he calls me back 4 hours later
yeah,
and is like, yeah, it's done. I did it.
yeah. So that was very cool. And the like anyway, yeah, when you're taking this apart and you're like, I can definitely, I don't want to do this, I don't have the time to do this, but yes, I could sit here and just fucking fumble about these pieces. But like, yeah, I don't know, those were, there was once upon a time, like I was kind of describing it because like Punch Mom was watching me do it, and it was kind of like, oh, like, do you kind of enjoy like getting in there and stuff? And I'm like, I don't mind getting inside the computer and piecing it together and building it and stuff, but the main thing, right? Because like we were talking about it, like comparing it to like working under the hood of a car or whatever, and it's like, the thing with this is, I am excited to open up a case and do stuff when I'm putting something new in.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the upgrade process. When
I'm gonna put some new RAM in.
Yeah.
Ooh, new card. Clunk, clunk.
Or whatever it is. Whether if I'm going into a positive, right? But if it's something's broken and I have to diagnose what it is and then fix it, that sucks. That's not fun. I don't enjoy that process.
Diagnostic like troubleshooting is miserable.
So that's the whole difference.
The issue I always had with diagnostic troubleshooting is that I would always hit a point doing it where it's like, well, I need duplicates of multiple pieces in my PC that I know work to remove these from the possible failure state, but I don't have a duplicate motherboard CPU to shove in there to test whether or not it's the motherboard CPU.
Exactly. Which and I mean, admittedly, like the fact that I was getting like not even to the point of a BIOS boot where I get the beeps to figure out what's going on. It was literally just like straight dead. So I'm like, okay, that simplifies the process. But anything that you can, anything that gets broken down the chain reaction takes longer and longer to diagnose because there's more moving parts, so to speak. So anyway, that's all fun and nice to deal with. But problem solved, and ultimately now it's like, okay, just got a new replacement computer that's faster, better, stronger, can do the editing better, and that's all nice. But pre-installed Windows 11. Please enjoy.
Oh, you get to have the experience now.
Man, they are dedicated to having a fucked up OS every second time around. It's so disgusting, and it's been the same. I can't believe years later, like 20 years later, it's the same shit where you're like, yep, the first thing they put out is trash, and then there's going to be some like outrage that leads to a fix or a reasonable version that comes along way later, and then they put out another version that's garbage again. It's fucking horrible.
It's wild that I have to make sure to click the right button every time I restart my computer so that I don't accidentally poison my computer with Windows 11.
Yeah, they really just, and like their philosophy has like not changed at all. Like the whole the same company that thinks it's like a good idea to have these desperate like pleas for you to not install Chrome, and like every time you come back to it, it gets more and more aggressive, and like there's all like 8 steps
Please,
along
man,
the way.
come on. Chrome's good, man, but Edge
will suck your dick. Like, come on,
I don't care, man.
Come on.
That.
Please.
Keep that.
Please.
I don't give a shit.
It is so desperate. But anyway.
Edge has one purpose on your computer, and that purpose is when a website breaks in Chrome, you go and load it up into Edge to see if it's a Chrome issue.
Yeah, they're really desperate. But anyway, that the same place that thinks that that's a great idea also has all these design things where they're like, okay, one, we're just gonna like remix the start menu again to make it this time just kind of copy Mac OS stuff. So every like main point of interest on the shortcut bar is now moved to the center, like it has been for Mac OSs for like a long time. And we're just gonna shift it over and then put where the old start menu was a widget box, so that you can get all these widget apps available once you sign into your Microsoft account, of course, which really, if you don't do so, you're not getting the full functionality of Windows 11. And
Sounds like I'm good to just not do that then.
and like every other thing is like, hey, yeah, this is a new thing, it's available here. Just please sign in, please. You really want to sign in?
No, I'm not gonna do that. I don't use any of Microsoft's built-in programs ever.
And they still are doing the thing where, like, I remember, God, what version of it was? I think it was like when they went from like 7 to 9 initially or so. Like, there's always a thing where, like, for example, okay, here, when they introduced the Metro layout, right? And the Metro is all over the place. And like, you want to edit, for example, your sound options, right? When you plug in your mic, you want to set line in, line out, and turn off all that bullshit that like fucks up the sound and everything that you do when you plug in a mic. And there's always the initial setting, but then when there's a new layout like Metro, it'll just obfuscate one of those things with a top layer of bullshit. So there'll be like the Metro sound window that gives you less options. It fits nicely into this box shit we're showing you, but you want to just go to advanced and get back to the old one that has all the things you're looking for, right? And it's always layered behind doors like a fucking Geese Howard stage, right? Where you're putting more obfuscation in front of the player, in front of the user. And so now with Windows 11, they're doing that shit again, where they have like this app layout thing that's basically like tablets and phones are all doing this. So we're just going to do the tablet phone thing. And if you want to get to control panel, like that's buried behind this new settings tab that is like, do you want any of these? None of the things are what you want. They're all app settings and bullshit. And you have to go advanced and then find the original control panel, which is not the original control panel. It's the new control panel from, like, I think it was like whatever, like maybe 2 or 3 versions ago. And then in that, you can go find your further settings. So they just like to put, instead of actually like addressing the core, they just put a makeup on top of a top layer and obfuscate the options that you need to actually adjust windows and settings by putting something that is completely nonsensical on top of it and making it feel like it's a new OS.
You know, it's funny because I was actually talking to Paige about this 2 days ago, in which we were talking about Apple layout, and I'm like, I have never been able to figure out how to use Apple's layout consistently, which is weird because it's supposed to be so user facing and user experience and like for anybody can use it. But the problem I always ran into on an iPhone when I used it was I want to get to this setting and I know this setting exists and I legitimately cannot figure out how to get past the baseline doesn't really fuck up anything settings on the phone to get to the guts of it, because I want the guts. Like I picked up the phone and immediately wanted to mess with the guts, but it's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You could fuck something up. We're going to hide it 5 layers deep underneath a bunch of weird hippie language.
Oh, ultimately.
And it's like,
yeah, ultimately the point of a lot of this stuff is to hide the guts so that you can't, so that grandma can't fuck it up, you know? And
yeah, 100%.
That's been the move, and that's been the on the successful one by making things kind of dummy proof. But it's always a fucking like guffaw when like you have to actually to change some sort of setting. For example, to change to do things as simple as like I want to show the known extensions, right? Because every time you have a new Windows thing, it hides the file extension types by default, and you always go,
why?
Stop it, show me them, don't hide all the I want to see it. I want to see my fucking folders. I want to see what's going on in them, you know, whatever. And like that same thing, it's in the same place it's always been. It's still in your folder options, right? Globally. And same thing for file extension associations. Like I want to put my own, video player. I want to put all that shit. And It's in the same place, but like you're literally pulling up the Windows XP Service Pack 3 like window that it's always been, but it's just you had to click more things to get to that point, because like the it's not even let's save grandma. It's more just like we really want you to use this as a glorified phone
As
tablet
intended.
with your Windows. And we don't want you to really browse the internet. We want you to browse the Microsoft Store for everything you want. If you're going to install any program, don't install that program. Go to the Microsoft Store and install the app version instead.
Oh, you mean the app that's going to like lock out a partition on my hard drive and I can't get it back?
Or that like
there's a Phantasy Star Online 2 partition on my fucking SSD that I can't get rid of because it says I don't have fucking admin privileges.
Wow.
And won't let me uninstall it.
Or that is not or is treated separately from like everything else in your normal like end taskbar, and where you can control its settings and its launch options and such. Like it is an aggressively dumb practice that they just refuse to get rid of, and they seem to just like all these years later, it's still a good idea to just make it like, if we take away your options and or hide them in more obtuse places and put the new thing in front of you, you'll eventually just get fed up and walk away from it and leave it alone. And so I kind of left off like putting some basics on, and then Min was going to take care of the rest, and like he was kind of like, oh god, well I guess time to learn this thing, and within like minutes he's just like, okay, so you can install your own video players, and you can and reset your file extension associations, of course, but you can't get but some formats it won't let you replace the default. For example, so MP4s are going to launch in Windows Movie Player, and there's nothing you can fucking do about it.
Are you serious?
And I'm like, hold on, stop. Go to the registry level, edit it on a registry level, like beyond everything else. He's like, yeah, so that's how you used to have to do it if it refused you beforehand, and now it's like, nope, that doesn't work anymore. You can't do a reg edit to get the association working, so it's going to take some other workaround or solution for the most basic playing an MP4 in the program of your choice. Like, they're making it more and more aggressive, and like it's stupid, but it's just like I don't know. You always kind of look and go like, well, okay, your alternatives are, I guess, go learn Mac OS, go learn Linux. There's always those options, and you'll kind of have to deal with whatever programs are running and supported on those things. But for the basic like gist of like, okay, well, we edit with these programs and use these codecs and this shit, we're kind of stuck with what we're doing. For the purposes
of us in particular, it's like, hey man, I want to play and stream PC games. I'm not gonna fucking start doing that through Wine or Boot Camp. That's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, this is, like I said, this is the editing setup, and was not my main, but if it certainly gets bad enough, reverting to Windows 10 is probably just going to be the move for it. But at the moment, it was just about like a speedy solution so that we could get our shit out on time. But
Windows
anyway,
10 is going to be in that situation where in a couple of years they're going to be like, we're stopping putting PC updates out for Windows 10. If you continue to use Windows 10, your PC will be unsafe to browser attacks, yada yada. And like the vast majority of people are gonna go, yeah, okay, fine, don't care. And then you're gonna see articles about how like, oh, ransomware attacked because there's a 10 million unsecured fucking PCs. It's like, yeah, no, because no one cares. I'm not gonna get fucking ransomware. I don't download fucking stupid random shit.
No, so the dumber this gets, the more likely it's just like, yes, revert to old Windows. That being said, I can report to you all here today that Windows 11 is ass, and you should stay away from it.
Oh, goody! I was wondering.
Until further updates.
I was not wondering, by the way. I knew in my heart.
Yeah, I mean, shit, man. Like, I remember when. Like, we've talked about this a couple times, but like literally, like when it came to like Photoshop, different versions, people are just like, just give me 7, leave me alone. right? Okay, 7, and then
Well,
like at a certain point, CS2 perhaps, and then leave me
in
alone. You
in my
know?
experience, people talking about Photoshop versions, they're like, which version of Photoshop should I use? And somebody pulls a USB stick out of their pocket and goes, this one.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
And then they go, what version is that? And the person with the USB stick goes, I don't care.
The good one. Uh, anyway, some of those foibles, always a good time. Um, and what else is going on? Oh, I took a look at Kaiju Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
Yeah, I see the Into the Breach vibes. That stuff's
Hmm.
fun. It's a completely different tone, though. It
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
be
very
any
much so.
more like loose and goofy about it compared to Into the Breach.
Yeah, when
Um,
you start the game and they ask you what you want to be called, and like it's Mayor and Your Excellency,
mhm.
etc.
So, and then like yeah, the characters are all goofy, and you're kind of just like, and you're flipping through a comic book as you're going through the missions and everything. So it really is just like, this is all just a thing where we're fans of kaiju's, and this is an excuse to have a little kaiju whatever, turn-based RPG or strategy, whatever you'd call that genre. I don't know when it's a small scale thing
That
like
that
that.
that that is a strategy
Strategy, yeah,
a
okay.
strategy game, tile
Um,
based strategy game. If you want to be fancy about it.
Yeah. So, the tone is super goofy, but it's fine. I like the some of the animation and detailing on the kaiju's. They get the most love, and then you get your super units, of course. So you start out with your tanks and planes, and then eventually you start getting that fun anime shit.
Hey,
Um,
look, it's clearly the gun that Shinji used to fight the cube. Oh, look, it's a Gundam from '79. It's
yeah,
etc.
that's fun. I dig that aspect of it. Um, I I feel like I structurally like still much prefer Into the Breach because of the uh the I guess it's just kind of like the way the perfect information, as mentioned, is
Yeah.
used, and and then the unit variety as well. Like, I mean, I know, although for in this case I kind of only got through the beginning of it, so I know there's going to be better stuff to unlock. But overall, the aspect of the kaiju thing where there's a percentage chance of going in either direction and stuff, it changes the vibe. It's not worse. It's just a different thing where it's less of a puzzle, and it's more of just like anticipating the best positioning
For
each turn.
me personally, I actually like Into the Breach a lot more, but that is just the reality is that I don't like Advance Wars,
Hmm.
which this game is very much taking after. I'm not a big fan of creating units to send out to die in a
Yeah,
turn-based thing.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like that just fine in a real-time strategy game because it's like it's fast, it's super super fast.
yeah.
But in something like this, it just I yeah it doesn't
So will
like
that
I think the game is really cool and awesome, and I'm just like I don't think I really like it all that much.
Well, so that I was gonna say yeah, the one other thing that I initially was like, oh yeah, these are really disposable units, and it's like, well, they're disposable, but then it costs one point to repair them, and
Right.
then you send them back out from the deployment center. So it's like, okay, it's not that bad, but it still is. And I do think too that like I prefer as well in Into the Breach where you have a team of three, and when you play really smart, you survive and you take out all the threats with those three. You are outnumbered by the amount of monsters. Creates a different feeling from it's a kaiju and you have to send out as much as you can to stop it. And like the disposable aspect of your units is to create that kaiju movie feeling, because if you
Yeah.
were a super unit that took out all the kaiju, like that wouldn't be accurate to all the movies they show you on the front menu.
It's classic Godzilla versus Pacific Rim.
Right. So that is an understandable decision, but ultimately, yes, it does feel better to, have your 3 units last through multiple waves of enemies coming through, and by positioning yourself smartly, you can like stop them, take a hit, anticipate here, and hold out. While the plan comes through. It's a much more like tense feeling than the like send the monster away for a moment and then it'll pop back out and then kind of throw everything you have at it. But yeah, still pretty fun. Pretty fun.
I dig what they went with the art, like fucking like garish neon yellows and fucking pinks.
Yeah, the dramatic coloring is really interesting. That's true
Like it
too.
really makes it fucking pop.
But I think it's an interesting discussion because it touches on something much more deep down in like my, I guess, fun enjoyment analysis centers, which is I will always, I think, prefer, unless I think I'll always prefer the type of game where I am outnumbered as my most like at the most like what I enjoy, like overcoming the odds of being outnumbered is something that is like I find more enjoyable than swarm versus swarm or I am the swarm. But if I am the swarm
Yeah.
and it's kind of like creating a if it's going for like creating a cinematic vibe of some kind, for example, like a kaiju situation, or if you're like asymmetrically in charge of, I don't know, like being the monster in, or being like not the monster, but being a threat at multiple points to like a series of survivors or something like that. Like if you control the stage while people are trying to get out, or you're trying to emulate something cinematic, then that's cool. But in a like just isolated like design sense, I much prefer being the one that survives against the horde.
Sounds like you need to start playing EDF.
Oh well, I mean I have played a bit of EDF, and that's certainly part of it.
I could go either way on that swarm thing. For me, it's like I've enjoyed pretty much all the way down the gamut of like many versus one or vice versa. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, it just comes back down to disposability,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Like, and that's part of the game's core appeal
Mm-hmm.
is that you're throwing like just disposable chunks of units to buy time.
Mm-hmm.
But like
EDF
it doesn't do it for me.
EDF requires you to be comfortable with like infinite bugs clipping into the screen at that are bigger than the size of buildings though. Like you have to
Yeah.
be down with that or not. I'm not down with that, so that's going to
You
bug me
want you
every
want
time.
you want the frame rate to just dive.
I want Here's what I actually want is a permanent force field that keeps the bugs at a certain distance as I
Oh,
kill
come
them.
on. Nah, come on.
I just I don't need them the camera all up in the it gets it's too much. It's too much. Where's my comfort cage? Anyway.
That's numb. Your comfort cage is shoot the gun more.
Yeah. No, when the corpses are just overlapping on each other and your model is just inside of the
There's just goo shooting out.
it's yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Kaiju Wars are not bad there. And we did start Mass Effect 1 over on the channel on YouTube, the anime. Reggie has decided to go with Red Shepherd.
It's a good choice. Red Shepherd's a good choice.
That's the name. And yeah, it's off to a pretty fun start. I'm enjoying like this is the kind of game where, unlike say like any Souls journey where it's like, oh yeah, you can kind of help Sherpa because the system has lots of numbers that are not going to be clear to someone who's playing it for the first time. You're going to have to explain
Yeah.
things like weapon scaling and, all that bullshit, right? And in this game,
No, that's a streamlined RPG.
So I get to just more or less sit back and just let it all happen
And cheerlead.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. That feels fun to do. And it's Mass Effect, so everyone's got big strong feelings about things, and there have been like there's an endless chorus of like, I can't wait to see Wooly push Reggie towards X or Y, and I'm like, you couldn't be further from the truth. You do not understand how much I want to sit back and let it all happen.
So what's really fascinating, particularly about Red Shepherd, is that what Red Shepherd actually is in writing terms changes over the course of the game. So like Blue Shepherd
No. Sorry. I didn't mean Red Shepherd as in Renegade Shepherd. I meant he literally named the character Red. That's what I meant. The first name of Reggie's character is R.E.D. Shepherd, as in
that's insanely confusing.
Yes.
that's about like, because Red and Blue Shepherd are like the
no.
That's so weird.
No, he went with the name Red Shepherd. Yeah.
Okay.
Not card committing to
all right, okay, all right.
All
right. Well, the only piece of advice I'll give you about Mass Effect is that the game is built on the assumption that you're going to go red or blue, and that if you do anything but, you will run into things that just break.
Is what I warned about initially, right? There are some things that I'm like, oh, by the way, this game, from what I recall, has this or that to it. And yes, the consistency of your decisions will pay off better for the types of options you'll have down the line. But it's come to my attention that apparently a Legendary Edition has adjusted some of that. So
a little.
So apparently now, because of some rebalancing with the points, it allows you to play Renegon a little bit more, I guess, effectively. But I don't know how much so.
I know for Mass Effect 1, they toned down the points to have it easier to hit the max.
Yes,
but
if you go from the old system to the new system, you now cap out at level 30 instead of 60.
But Mass Effect 2 has like major story moments that require a completely maxed out bar, and that's definitely not any different. And on top of that, the big rebalance for that Legendary thing was that they completely rebalanced how choices factor into the Mass Effect 3 war readiness thing, where more old choices factored in so that you don't have to play the multiplayer, which doesn't exist in the Legendary Edition.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's still going to be kept in mind, but like some of those changes, hopefully, will make the experience a bit easier. I know one of the ones that is interesting is the they've taken away the gun restrictions as well, so you can use guns that are outside of your class. You just don't get the bonuses.
Yeah. They changed. They cleaned up Mass Effect 1 a little bit, very little to the other two, but they didn't need nearly as much as Mass Effect 1, where it was a little older, a little jankier. Though you're gonna get real. Hey, wait! You played Mass Effect 1. Reggie didn't.
Yes.
Okay, man, you better have that red or blue high enough when you get to Vermeer, or you are gonna have a bad day at that fucking beach talking to that dinosaur.
Look, man, like, and everyone is already kind of like going, oh, it's gonna go this way, and I'm kind of like, I understand playing Dark Souls 1 and going, hey, by the way, if you tell Laurentis to walk down to the swamp where he wants to go, you're going to lose your pyromancy trainer and he's gonna die, right? There's a
Yeah.
thing to that in that style of game. In this case, whatever happens can happen.
Oh, I'm actually gonna
I
have to genuinely disagree on that. Like, because Mass Effect 3, like, okay, in Mass Effect 2, you can have the suicide mission and anybody can die in that suicide mission.
I don't.
Like, that's the
I've only the only things I know about it are Mass Effect 2 and 3 are what you told me.
Oh, okay. Well, the big thing about Mass Effect 2 is that you're building up to a suicide mission in which every single party member can die, including Shepard.
Okay. Listen,
Um,
listen. I I sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and the point that I'm making here is that by the time you get to Mass Effect 3, okay, hold on. I'm going to take a second. Everyone is yelling at me to shut up. That was literally the first trailer for Mass Effect 2 back in like 2008. It was literally the first piece of information about the game 15 years ago. Shut up.
Look,
Second of all,
yeah.
the issue with that is that if you roll into ME3 with X character dead, Y character dead, they're replaced with generic stuff or literally nothing.
I am not going to for sure roll forward with Reggie's character in 2 and 3.
Ah, there you go. There's the okay.
So he can have a completely open experience that plays out as it would for anyone playing these games, and we'll see what happens, and I'm okay with that. And again, this is not a Souls type situation. It's something else. It's its own game. It can be that way, right? So I get it, and I understand that, like, folks are like, again, like, oh, will he push this or that? I'm like, no, let him play the game, man. Let him play the game. I'm not gonna, the types of disaster mitigation that I think are fair to present to someone who's playing it for the first time are things like, yeah, the game unfortunately doesn't work out when it doesn't allow you to do as much as you want with your character if you spread your build apart and you don't focus on certain upgrades, right? Or if you
it's basically KOTOR to the nth degree of the game wanted you to just beeline down one thing, like pick one thing and then just do it.
right. And similarly, picking basically like picking a point to upgrade toward, a thing to upgrade towards on a given bar is always useful, and not spreading out too thin for that purpose. And then similarly with the Paragon and Renegade points, so that you don't get locked out of those thresholds, which, again, conversationally, you'll see the options and whatever the case. But that's the type of stuff where I think it's like, oh yeah, this is useful to know as you go forward, because it's just, in terms of gameplay, plot aside, you're going to have these hurdles you'll probably want to overcome as you unlock these abilities. But I think that, like, yeah, the in terms of characters and conversations and the social aspects of everything, and who you like and who you don't like and who you have an affinity for and stuff, everyone here has played it and has their feelings about those characters. But I don't think that I should be pushing him in any particular way if I can avoid that. I mean, certainly I'm going to be talking about stuff with my feelings, and we're going to be having fun and laughing about, cracking jokes here and there. But letting him play in whatever way he wants to and have whatever outcome he gets, I think is the sanest, fairest, normalist way to go about this. And not have like, oh, this only happened because Wooly pushed this, or this only happened because Wooly stopped him from doing that, or saved this situation, or avoided that situation. Why not just make it the genuine thing that it can be?
I completely understand everything you're talking about, and to a degree, I get it. But at the same time, if Rex dies, then have fun missing out on like 6 hours of the best content in 2 games in the future.
Oh, fair enough. But that's the carry. That's with the carryover, right? I already kind of, I'm already kind of like, thinking about how this is going to play out or so. But I'm taking over as of 2, and yeah, it might not necessarily be carrying over Reggie's save file. So
the more that I think about it, and I went through the series a little while ago, and like Mass Effect's trilogy is probably the best example of why BioWare having like moral choices in their games is genuinely kind of awful.
Hmm.
Because you get, first of all, you get into this fucking stupid discussion, which sucks. And like, I actually hate the thing that I'm saying, which
Mm-hmm.
is, man, you should really beeline one way or the other. But like, if you don't beeline one way or the other, you lose out on rewards, and those problems carry forward. So
Mm-hmm.
like in Mass Effect 2, Rex has a relatively muted role
Mm-hmm.
because there was like a certain percentage of people just didn't have Rex. And then you get to stuff in 3 that Rex would be really important with, but can't be that important with because it's not for sure that he's alive.
Mm-hmm.
And so it runs into the issue of like in a choose your own adventure, if anyone has the possibility of dying, like in a Telltale thing, even if they survive, they have to leave to go on a different thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They could not be around, and how like frustrating that actually is.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know that like yeah, well that's just based on that's just how they designed it. I, for the record, in my original playthrough of the game when I first touched it, accidentally let Rex die.
Oh.
I did, that happened organically in my playthrough. That's not what I wanted, but that did happen with me. For what it's worth, but I do I do get the idea of like, yeah, hey, there's good content here that it's you do probably want to see. So that makes a lot of sense as well. I don't think there's any like real perfect solution to a game that's this. It's the whole game is personality and bias driven, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And
But at the same time, they only really genuinely gave you 2 real choices. Even in the game's own writing, it's an issue because Narc Paragon Shepherd and Total Psycho
mm-hmm,
Renegade Shepherd, if you play them off of each other, Shep looks like the craziest motherfucker to
mm-hmm,
ever exist.
mm-hmm.
Like the writing styles don't mix. It's
um
weird.
but all things considered, like, I yeah, if anyone's getting gassed up on the idea of like me shoving him in certain directions, you're getting gassed up on nothing, because that's the last thing I want to do. I just want him to play it and have
The
his experience with it, and I think that's a pretty reasonable way to go about it, considering the other option is to puppeteer him in some way, which I really don't like the idea of doing. You know.
the other issue that they ran into, particularly with 2 going into 3, is that this is anecdotal, but it's anecdotal of like everyone I ever knew who played Mass Effect 2 and everybody I spoke to in the chat who played Mass Effect 2, which is the question is not did you play the game and have everybody survive, it's how many times did you replay the final sequence so that you had the perfect save file to import to the 3rd game.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
they even put out stats on that prior to the legendary edition. It's like 85, 90+% of people made it
Mm-hmm.
here with
Mm-hmm.
everyone alive. And it's like, oh,
Okay. Okay.
cool. I'm glad you made a situation where it's not a choice. It's do you want more stuff or
Yeah.
less stuff?
No, what you're talking about, objectively replacing like interesting characters with generics, is a matter of content versus no content, and that does suck. So
So
that
like
I
I'm thinking
understand.
about
I do get the weight of that. That does make sense too. Yeah.
I'm thinking about Mass Effect 3, and I'm thinking about like I I don't I don't know what that game would look like if the cast, like the whole cast, was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like I genuinely like there are whole like planets that I'm like, is there just not a mission there
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
anymore?
Now the other thing too is that, like, by essentially saying outright that I plan to go through them, that means that like there's a long time to figure this out as well. So I'm describing what I'm thinking of for now, and like as we get around to it, we'll ebb and flow and see how it goes. But yeah, I imagine. Anyway, I imagine as we go, like I'll learn more about what types of things would be like really shitty to not be in the LP or whatever the case is, and figure it out. But
So
we got a long
what's
time.
weird
Is all I'm
is
trying to
that
say. We got a long time.
Mass Effect 1 like makes more sense in the time that it came out because it came out after KOTOR, like relatively soon after KOTOR.
Mm-hmm.
And so people went, "Oh, Sith or Jedi," and then you apply that to Space Cop.
Mm-hmm.
But we're this far forward, and the BioWare style of like hyper binary character choice has more or less disappeared for the, I don't know what to call it, just like play it as you would per situation that like Jensen or Geralt would do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think like Witcher 3, one of its biggest strengths is that like even if all the variations of possible outcomes are Geralt leaves, Geralt helps the children, Geralt kills the bad guy, Geralt exercises the ghost, Geralt robs the whatever, right? All of those are written within the context of relative appropriateness for the character you're playing as.
Okay.
Where Mass Effect 1, like Narc Shepard doesn't really have this problem. Blue Shepard is like just a huge narc. Like he narcs out on people, he calls the cops constantly, he's a dumbass Law and Order idiot, right? In Mass Effect 1, Renegade Shepard is I'll do whatever it takes to get the job done, right?
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
I have to cut corners, I'm going to do it. Mass Effect 2 Shepard is I'm very upset and I'm going to just kill people for fun. And Mass Effect 3 Shepard is evil. Like he's an evil person and he's doing things to be evil.
Well,
And it's like that's not
well, here's
that's
the
not
thing.
consistent.
The thing is that the way because again, I don't know what to expect, but I do know that looking at KOTOR, right, both of those stories were crafted in a really precise way with fucking like needles and pins in
Yeah.
terms of like how delicate the story is, because you have to create a character that has plausible deniability in going the Sith route, the Jedi route, or neither, and still has to come around to a conclusion that stops the galactic threat and then concludes in whatever way you choose, right? So
Yeah.
It has to, again, it has to narratively make sense that you are swinging this lightsaber around one way or the other, but like the story can continue moving forward and the end result of your decisions is not, and then the galaxy died, it's over, right?
Yeah.
2 has to come in and take the first spinning plates of what happened 10 years ago and then put more spinning plates and keep it like, okay, and now you have to also have the ability to wiggle within this framework, but there's still the outer limits of being the worst, evilest Sith and the best, most ignorant Jedi, and still getting to those credits in a way that the character like Kreia would be able to sit and have a conversation with you going like, you're whatever, you're not even in control of your own decisions, right?
Yeah.
In order to then mirror this very delicate thing in a brand new science fiction universe, I look at the creation of the job of Spectre as the way to do that, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what that is. Spectre is a Jedi.
Outlining the fact that the Spectre doesn't have to adhere to any given rules or whatever the case is our complete just like, okay, this excuses
It's above the law, man.
This excuses the whatever path you go here, and the furthest extent of its extremities on both sides are still going to get you to the credits in a way that you can believe by the end of the story,
Yeah, and then you look into like you go through the whole thing and like just because the how do I put it, the start point and then the branches of trees of decisions you get to make through one of these games, and they have to kind of merge again before the next game because it has to have like a somewhat unified start point.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see that, but you get to see like what I'm going to call like the cut branch problem that exists in evil playthroughs, which is a problem in every BioWare game. Every BioWare game has this problem. The good playthrough, where you're a paragon of morality and a good Jedi and a nice space cop, has you working the problem out via dialogue and then going to solve a problem and having a longer quest line. And the bad solution is, I'm just going to stab you in the street and take your money. The one that stands out the most to me is Tatooine in KOTOR 1, in which if you decide to be a Sith dickhead, you just kill all the sand people.
Yep.
And if you're a nice Jedi, you like spend like 2 hours talking to the sand people about their culture. And Mass Effect has that problem times 10 because it relates to characters. Like, hey, this gangster's a dickhead, but he didn't really murder anybody. What are you going to do? Are you going to let him go so you can hang out with him in Mass Effect 2 and have a cool scene? Or are you just going to shoot him right here?
Now,
and have that scene be replaced with nothing. And
this is where previous knowledge of specifically the BioWare approach, and also, I mean, I constantly fuck up, but not KOTOR 2, because that's the other dev, whose name I forget. But anyway, the thing that you learn from KOTOR is it's not about just going and being a good guy, and it's not about just killing everyone immediately and taking all their stuff. Obsidian, thank you. It's about pretending to be a good guy until the moment of betrayal. Yeah. And now you get the most dialogue and content out of playing it against the person who, like, you're helping until the last minute, you know? Yeah, 100%. So you know, keeping that in mind, you're like, okay, you get, like, killing everything is pointless and just doing everything you good is fine, but the real way to get the most out of being evil is, like, wait for the last minute turn. Yeah. Also, man, I have to, like, I'm gonna bring it up every time, because after I went through the Legendary Edition, it viciously hit me, especially playing Mass Effect 1, which is, it's very important for everyone to understand when you're playing space game Mass Effect 1 about a space cop not bound by the law, that this is a game that started development right after 9/11 and was made in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Because it is, like, pouring out of every like, it is bordering on post 9/11 space fantasy. Like, in terms of what's actually going on. It's wild. Have you become a Spectre yet in that playthrough? No. Just one session so far. Okay, but you remember that, right? You remember becoming a Spectre? Like, they have a little ceremony? Yeah. Because, like, the part where Shepard is standing there screaming at the Space UN that Saren has weapons of mass destruction. Right, yes, and that he needs to go in there and get the fucking weapons of mass destruction from Saren is Peak so Council. On the nose. And that's why I need to be exempt from law, and I can go down to the bar and I can shoot anybody I want. Oh man, yeah, it's that stuff's fun. It's also fun, like, one of the first descriptions is talking about the Volus and how they take care of the economy and stuff, and, you know, Reggie's like, they still have taxes in the future, and I'm like, oh yeah? Dude, they got space taxes. Oh, you, whatever space utopia you think you're walking into here is not it. You know, yeah, no, I think it takes, I don't know how long it takes, but I feel like it takes a minute before you kind of go from, like, taking it to be, oh yeah, of course, the Space Government Council is in charge of a lot of things, and this is the way they maintain order and do their thing. And there's always the, like, oh, they're ignorant, whatever. But the idea of looking at it and realizing this is fucked up and super wrong. that like
Oh yeah.
you are straight up not allowing people to have races to be represented.
Oh, dude.
is
So
so insane.
You recently put up the part. Put up the part called "Take a Right Turn into the Coolest Room."
Yeah.
Is like, in my opinion, the core of the Mass Effect experience, and it kind of never goes beyond that fantasy of like, hey, what's over here? Oh, weirdo aliens. I'm going to talk to them about their weirdo alien stuff. But what those guys are actually, they're sitting in there, they're fucking bitching that they're alien races that have been in galactic society for like thousands of years have no government representation at all.
It is millennia of taxation without representation.
You've been there for 40 and you have a way bigger office and you don't have to share it? Like, that's bullshit, man.
It's crazy.
The Elcor and the fucking Volus are getting fucked.
Yeah. No, it is absolutely thousands of years of space taxation without space representation. And
like, when I went through that sequence when I streamed it, I'm sitting there going like, yeah, this is nonsense. Humanity should be arguing for seat 7 on the council, being Asari, Turian, Solarian, then Volus, then Elcor, then Hanar, and then humans.
Now, I don't know enough Star Trek, but in Star Trek, like, do you ever get to see like the flaws of the academy and or the governing bodies?
Only 3 times a season.
Okay. Because I feel as if like, you're out there doing the Prime Directive stuff, and then you call back to base and they give you a couple things, but I don't know if you ever get a really good look at it being
in fact,
fucked up.
In Star Trek TNG and in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, it is well established that the greatest threat to humanity is Starfleet admirals.
Okay.
Because they tend to love to power trip, and they tend to love to institute non-Federation ideals and shit like that. And yes, no, Starfleet is definitely not perfect.
Okay.
In fact, there's a really, really great speech by Sisko in the 4th season in which he is dealing with border skirmishes. He's dealing with religious zealotry. He's dealing with a group of people that don't want to vacate. They don't want to vacate their lands they colonized because of a treaty signature, yada yada. And he goes on that the problem with the Federation is Earth, because Earth is a paradise, and it's very easy to be an angel in paradise.
Interesting. Okay.
Because everyone who makes decisions in Star Trek lives on Earth, which is a post-scarcity society in which it's perfect, and there's no crime, and there's no hunger, and there's no money.
Interesting.
And they're making decisions for the fringes of space, in which, people still use cash, idiot.
People are still suffering.
Trade has to exist. People still starve. There's still war.
Okay. So yeah, okay. Even Star Trek as well has those bits. Cool. All right. I don't know if is there ever a fucking space council that doesn't suck in any setting?
I mean, Horatio from Endless Space 2 has a council of Horatio, because everyone in the Horatio race is a clone of the best guy ever, Horatio.
Okay. Fair. Anyway, so yeah, that's gonna be fun, but also just temper expectations accordingly, and let's just see what Reggie does, So, Mass Effect is going down, and Elden Ring continues. Just what did I just do? So finished the capital, and walked to the basement, and then finished the basement.
The whole basement.
The basement, and then there's the invisible wall, and then there's more basement, and I got to the bottom of that basement and stopped, basically.
Okay, because there's a lot of basement.
There's a lot of basement.
Uh, is the capital not the like? I feel like the capital in Elden Ring is the fulfilling of the promise of what Anor Londo looked like all those years ago.
I literally said as we were walking down Main Street, look at how the fucking look at how clean and pristine this all is, and the degradation is starting, but it's not here yet. You know, I was noting that as you walk through it, it's like, oh, this is a full, huge, giant golden city, right? Literally the golden city on the hill.
Yeah.
And you're in it, and it still feels like the problem is it just started. It's making its way in, but you can still see the you know, like the sidewalks are still clean. They're swept with some leaves and a couple cracks here and there, but for the most part, everything is still intact. You know,
it's
definitely
it hits because getting to Dark Souls 1 and getting to Anor Londo was this huge like wow moment. And then as you went through it and you completed it a couple times, you're like, well, really the only part of Anor Londo that exists is a couple rooms in that castle, the roof here, and like this one path, right? But they fake you out by having this massive cityscape underneath it that you can't go to. And you get to that vista shot in Lendel, and you're looking at it, and I'm like staring at it, and I'm tilting the camera, and I'm like, God damn it, that's an item there in that fucking sidewalk.
Roof. That roof has an item on it. You can go there. Absolutely.
And I'm like, oh, this is not a backdrop.
No.
This is not a to-scale model. This is actually probably the largest Souls level ever.
It is the full zone, and it is an all legacy dungeon. And furthermore, it keeps going down. You know,
and keeps going up!
I mean, unmapped fucking subterranean stomping grounds, you know, like crazy. So
it's and then you get there and you get to have the T-pose of revelation.
Yes.
Which is a great moment that I've been waiting on because I knew you would get to it.
That is, as I've described it, it's like, okay, fuckers, you went int, here's your payoff.
Yeah. And if you go fucking anything but, well, luckily there's a lot of really cheap respecs in the game. But even then, luckily there's a lot of ways to boost your intelligence for just a second.
Okay.
So I actually did it on my Faith character. I just put enough shit on my guy.
Oh, all the source seals and
just barely kick over the edge.
Okay. That's fun. That's cool. Okay. So yeah, you can go full int for just a minute. That feels interesting because it's like that means the feeling I've been having of missing out on the importance of the golden items and the golden incantations and the golden weaponry and the golden armor, you know, is all like, yes, certainly you are feeling that way, but here's what you get if you went the other road and you've solved a mystery of sorts, you know, because I don't know for sure, but I feel as if you don't do that, you can probably go really far in and like maybe, you know, never find that out until the game decides it wants to tell. I don't know. Don't even answer it.
Find it out quite late.
Quite late. That's fine, right? That's okay. Like the vibe I'm getting is exactly that, where like, yeah, you go, okay, you can just be in the dark on that one. So that felt very wild and cool and satisfying, but also fucking insane. Like I think we just sit there and just like brain leaks out of the ears, and then I try to keep playing, and then I just break again. So that's very effective. That did its job, and it led to a very fun rewatch of the intro.
Oh, I was about to say, man, it's all there. You go watch that original trailer, the first one, and it's there, and total recontextualization.
So that's a lot. That's a lot of fun for like lore piecing. Yeah. It's the capital paid off in a completely different way from expected. Good shit on that, certainly. And
I'm trying. There it is. So, Wooly, I have a quick question for you, because you might have sailed past it. Did you find an incantation in the deep root near some ants called Elden Stars?
yes, and that's what sent me. That's what led to the final conversation about, oh my god, I get it. Faith gets all the things that the game is named after. I get it. That's the final one where I picked it up and I was like, listen, guys, I'm giving up at this point. I'm not gonna mention it anymore. But the title of the game is on this thing that my build is not allowed to use, and I don't even know if it's a good incantation or not, but it doesn't feel special.
It's very bad, actually.
Okay, but I'm like, but please understand that as someone who doesn't know, it doesn't feel special when you're not allowed to do the thing that the title of the game is on. Just understand that feeling for a second. All right, I'm done.
Well, the main thing is that like the game loves twos. Mm-hmm. And so, as a result, it has two twists. One of which is hidden in Elden Stars, and the other of which is hidden in the law of regression.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'm just sitting there, and I pick up this incantation, and I'm halfway between I knew it and halfway become they doing it again. And then you go in past the lake, which I saw you did, and you're like, oh no, they're really doing it again.
Yeah.
It's we got everything. When people said it's like every From Software game combined, there was one they tangentially left out of their mind. No, that one's in there too.
Oh yeah,
plenty of that.
Well, so I have been getting that vibe hard from a lot of the other things, certainly. But yeah, the fucking there's a solid ass like we're just I'm like we're really just taking a fantasy setting and we're doing space again. Holy shit. We're just mashing the two together, you know?
It's like, oh, the reason it's a fantasy setting is because of space.
So yeah, they're not pulling their punches on that. Like it's quite clear that like all the descriptions and such are like you're trying to piece your timeline together, and you're looking at it like, yeah, sure, there's even a phase of dragons in gray before the era of the Erdtree and all that shit, you know, but
so one of the
you're
things
like, that sounds familiar, and then you're like, and then fucking space. You know,
there's enough in Elden Ring that I was talking to people about it, and I was like, I bet there's going to be just enough thematic overlap that you're going to be able to make a YouTube video based on how Elden Ring leads to, or at the very least takes place in the same universe as all of the others. And sure enough, there's just enough. The way they talk about the flame of madness, there's like just enough overlap there that you could be like, well, what if after Elden Ring the flame was?
I don't even have to like look, but I'm sure people could tell me. It's like, how many videos are out there going, hold on a minute. Is Solaire the Dung Eater? Like, did he literally? You know?
No, actually, Dung Eater is closer to like a Sekiro idea.
But into like he's got the literal sun on his chest, and you know maybe fucking Sans Earthbound. I don't know.
You're right. Maybe you're right. Dung Eater is Sans Earthbound.
Yeah,
it's true.
Anyways, so that's very cool. When I made my way up to the mountain and I saw Gold Mask, I have never loved a character who's had nothing to say more than Gold Mask.
Great. Gold Mask is incredible.
Based on one item description. there's one item description talking about his views on the fundamentalists, and it's like, what a fucking Chad. Like, oh my god, Gold Mask is the best. Says nothing, does nothing, puts his thoughts down on one item description, and you're like, fucking bars every time. Bars. Kills it.
He's great. He is actually envisioning like a actual good version of the Golden Order, because the gods kind of not great.
And of course, you know, you got the fun kids, the Blythe, Rani, and Iji doing their Naruto intros as children. You know.
What about Saluvus?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, fuck that dude. That dude's
Man,
ass.
you walk downstairs over back to that shopkeep, and that quest gets dark.
Oh yeah, sure does.
That got real dark real quick. Yep, and that's where I'm like, oh, there's the Grim. There's the Grim, you know? You go visit Pedia, and you're like, George starts to peek through a little bit. What was
Man, you've met almost all the major players now.
Yeah, well, it's rolling. It's rolling.
There's only one guy I want to talk to you more about, and I don't think you've met him, and it's good old Reichardt.
Yeah, no, not yet.
He's a cool guy.
I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, right behind Goldmask and Corin, who's just just like, I'm like, oh.
I saw that clip of you and Reggie just like, no, I want to be Goldmask. Look at me.
Anyway, right behind them, I picked up that Starfist, and I'm like, and there it is, right? The big dumb. Like, okay, well, there's the actual Mokujin fists, but these are the dumb ones with spikes on that turn you into a fucking cartoon character. And they're better than the spiked Cestus. But, like, are you down to be a goofy cartoon character? And the answer is yes. Yes.
The answer is, of course.
So, yay for the punch weapons being found.
So where you did you beat the boss of the capital, or
yeah, so I fought Godfrey, and then I fought Morgut, and had that cool little showdown. That was fun. And then
great rematch.
Really cool round 3.
Did you fight him? Yeah, okay. I was about to say, did you fight him the second time in the fight? And it's like, wow, you just won't stop, huh? Ooh.
I really love how he and Godric have that combo sequence that has a fucking stagger for the roll call out. Like, the way that the combo comes together with just enough delay on it to catch you is really cool. Yeah, the round 3 on that was really fun. And then took a trip downstairs and fought proper round 1 Moog, which was like, oh my god, really? I'm like, okay, you know, let's do this. And it's like, yeah, you don't even there's no room in this little fucking enclosure for you to jump and start flying around. So you know, that was supposed to be round 1. It was really interesting going at it backwards. I and certainly not what I expected of that encounter. I was like, oh, anyway. I thought there's going to be some sort of, like, you know, other Omen related thing, but it's just Moog again, and this time around he's got nothing to say. And he's got nothing to.
I think it's a different guy. I think,
pop off
like,
about.
Is it not a different guy? Because he's wearing like blue robes.
No. It's the same guy. He's just not the Lord of Blood at that point, you know, or at least he's not popping off, you know. But I don't know. Maybe there's something to him, like getting beat and then running away and then jumping inside of Michaela's blood, and who knows?
There is that sewer section is like I feel like that's the limit of confusing architecture that they can get away with in these games because it is a mess.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
it is it is a fucking
Well,
mess.
when you enter the pipes and you realize that you're like, oh, you're sending me in a confusing labyrinth of pipes with the only area in the game that's mapless because it's in between the up and down, you know?
Yeah.
It is
And then
deliberately confusing.
you're in the open area and you realize that the pipes that you're walking on are the pipes you were inside earlier.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, I realized right away because I could hear the imps falling off of them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, good times there. And we'll pick back up and see where it goes. Fun stuff. But I'm really, really enjoying, I gotta say, the most delicious is whenever something happens where, like, all people just eyeball the fuck out because they're like, what the shit is that? I never saw that shit. I missed this completely when I went through it. And I'm like, go reinstall the game, fucker. Because
Dude, there's so much. Like, let's break down Dung Eater, right?
well,
Okay,
I'm not done with Dung Eater. I'm not done with Dung Eater.
You're not?
No, I'm still in the middle of whatever his thing's about.
Oh, because I saw your crab battle.
Yes, but the second phase of whatever's going on.
It's fine, because the stuff I'm going to talk about precedes that.
Okay.
Okay? I never got to that moat, because I saw him, and I'm like, you're going to go right now. And I just iced him right then and there.
Okay. Yeah, I talked about it a bit, but I was kind of like, the game allows you to play both sides a bit and then make a decision. You know, there's a couple of moments where, like, you could get fucked over, specifically, like, the Saluvis poison bit shit, but talking it through and then deciding later seems to be how they're playing it. So I'm like, let's just see what step one is going to be of this, you know? Because it's like if you're in a yurt or like Lautrec style situation, you know, it's going to get bad real quick. But I decided, I'm like, okay, clearly he's telling me who he is in this world and in this game, but the way it's played out so far with those moments, or even in the less nefarious ones where you run into Dialos and then you're like, I'm also working for the guys you hate, and then he's like, oh, well, I'm here too, and you're like, oh yeah, so the game doesn't mind you being on both sides, you know? Even now, when like the blind finger maiden is like, oh hey, you led me down here, cool, thanks, and it's like, Melena's telling you, don't do it, man. And I'm like, okay. But the lady wouldn't be there if not for my helping her get there to begin with. So it really is letting you do all of it, you know? But what I'm talking about, though, is like right next to the Finger Maiden down at that area beneath the behind Moog, there's a hidden wall. And then you've got the treasure chest in it. Mm-hmm. And then the wall behind that opens up into some zone. Good old fashioned. You know, just like the fucking branches. And Shackle that shit, blew it all away. And people were like, there's another wall. And I'm like, yeah.
So,
love it.
I don't think we talked about it, but you discovered the Shackle thing on your own, or did somebody tell you that?
Oh, I did the Shackle as I was told that, like, it'll unveil doors, invisible walls in front of you, and that's it, right?
Yeah, so it fires out like a massive radius of like phantom hits, I guess.
I have now, yeah, exactly. I've been speaking to some friends that have informed about the full size of how that works, and the mechanics of it are insane. But all I thought it was a little short circle in front of you that pops any doors around, you know? Turns out it's gigantic.
And it'll blow up the chariots, which is a weird unintended physics effect.
And that's when I realized the power of that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's an accident. Oh, whoops. Did you finish Ronnie's quest?
Yes. Well, I mean,
is that not like a whole game?
So it's the equivalent of the church in Disco, in that it's like, you can't call that a side quest. It's too much.
It's like 20% of the game.
It's an alt main quest. It's crazy. And and it's also really impactful as well. Yeah. So for now, at least, I suppose, I feel like I've done it. And that also is interesting how you're like, oh, there's a little bit of that Dark Souls 3 in there. A little bit, Yeah, I'm calling that an alt main, more than a side quest. You can't fucking put that in the same category.
It's the bit when you go down the city, and then you go down the depths, and then you go down the city again, and then you go to the lake, and you're past the lake, and you're like, how is there past the lake?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what's interesting too is, so with Blythe, did you visit him at the jail?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that. And in seeing how it plays out by missing it, you can see that it's an extra scene, because when you do it without the scene that I missed, you walk up to EG and EG just kind of goes, "Oh, how did he escape? Oh, well, anyway, wait, what happened?" And it's like, "Oh shit, I was wrong about my assumptions about him," and it just jumps right to the conclusion on it. But there's that little window where it's like, oh, if you happen to go back there to the first fucking ever jail, and then you get this extra piece of context on what's going on. That feels very much like a New Game Plus thing, to be like, you don't need this for this whole story to make sense, but it's an extra little detail of a scene that we put out there if you happen to go find him.
Yeah,
so
that's
cool.
Elden Ring actually takes it really easy on you in terms of quest steps, in which you can actually miss most of them. Mm-hmm. And the characters will auto jump to their next locations and continue as if, and you just miss whatever you happen to miss.
Yep. And they don't care. You're gonna miss it, and that's that. Too bad for you.
I missed a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. Like, I missed the majority of Fia's quest because I didn't talk to Rogier and her before any of that shit went down.
Yeah. And yeah, of course the name of the jail mentions Hound, and you kill the Bloodhound in there, so that could be a clue.
But that's a different guy. It has nothing to do with it.
You killed the dude in there. You're not going to instantly think, oh, I should go back and check because it has the word Hound in it.
No, the way that you do that is you go talk to EG, and then EG tells you that he put him in there, and then you go there, and then you take him out. And
which is much more sensible, yeah. No, the bit with shit, what was it? Fuck. Damn it. It's something you were just talking about. Anyway, a lot of that stuff is just like, it's missable. Game big. It'll be what it is.
It's stupid big.
Mm-hmm.
And like, how do I put this? Like the Souls method of hiding NPCs got kind of outrageous when you give us a map like this.
Oh, I remembered what I was trying to think of. What is unintentional and like what's bugged and fucked and probably needs to be fixed is the shit with I thought it was ridiculous when you had to sit at the right bonfire to find Bach again, right? Where it's like, Bach has moved, but he has not appeared. You must go to the right place and sit there for him to appear there. Crazy, right? And that then in its worst incarnation with Nefeli Liu and Kenneth Haidt, where like, unless you're sitting at the fucking Grace, at the end of Stormvale, they just don't update, So in my game, they did not.
That is a direct result of those being added after the game came out.
Wild. Super silly on that, and
that wasn't there when I had beaten the game before that step existed.
The idea that there can be an in-between phase for these quest lines where like the person doesn't move once you're done with them in the location that you are, they move once you sit at a Grace you've already been at before, is a really bad way to design that, Every other one, when it works as intended in all the previous games and in this one, once you're done, you've exhausted the conversation, and then you quit out and they've moved, Yeah. So anyway, like that one is just like, oh, fuck off, you're gonna find that in natural progression. That feels like a very obtuse piece of thing, and of course, like with those quest lines, I mean, I know that like Gostock is a part of it as well because like he's supposed to move into that room too, but yeah, like there's the doing a little tour of like the area and such, and you're like, okay, so she's just kind of gonna whatever. The point is, it's fixed, but the fact that they're adjusting and adding these things and adding NPCs and whatnot, like, is there going to be a point where like I guess you can resurrect anyone that you accidentally kill in order to do certain
like
well, you're supposed to be able to resurrect. So what I was told is you can resurrect Rani if you do Saluvis's quest line and like actually do the evil thing and then go back to the Church of Vows, and with annulment you can resurrect her and continue the quest line as normal. Like apparently you can actually do shit like that and get both quests done.
I don't know about that. That seems iffy.
Okay, well, I
wouldn't fuck with any of that.
We're already past it, but I can only relay what was told to me by the other people, that you can betray and then undo the betrayal with the Church of Vows and continue the quest or whatever. But okay, well, if that's not true, then or some say you can't. But okay, I don't know.
What I will say, Wolves, is that you're probably going to be off to Volcano Manor next because it's the next, like, in terms of the progression.
Well, what I'm actually doing is I've already been given a heads up about like I'm not going to finish Volcano Manor till I finish all the missions.
Oh yeah. What I mean is you want to visit Volcano Manor.
Yeah. Okay.
Because once you walk outside that capital and go to the next spot the game is telling you to go, you're going to notice a like DLC level increase in difficulty. Like it is wild. It is nuts. Like everything just triples all of its values.
Looking forward to it.
So, like, I saw some comments on your shit. It's like, oh, well, he's so overpowered. I'm looking at your character, and I'm like, he's not that overpowered, especially not for what the fuck he's going to have to deal with next.
Yeah. Those folks are never going to give it a rest, and that's okay. Yeah. I'm gonna be skating and punching, and we'll see how I live. But it's probably gonna be rough. Yeah. Anyways, all of this is good times. And yeah, tune in. Come check us out.
Oh.
Elden Ring, Mass Effect going down on the channel. And this week as well, we're going to be doing getting to fighting games. We're going to be playing Kamen Rider Super Climax Heroes. Min's going to jump in. We're going to do some fun stuff with that. And then we're going to go play some tournament level Shrek Super Slam HD Remastered. So come hang out. Should be a good time.
Okay. Do you want to take a quick break?
Sure.
Right now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. See you in a bit, people.
All right. Oh, something I was wondering of
Yeah.
Elden Ring. Um,
Hmm.
what is your favorite track post capital, or is it something pre capital of all the boss fight music and stuff?
It's the Ronnie quest track is my favorite section of the game.
Okay.
Like
Uh,
that whole fucking dive deep into Nokron and Siofra and all that shit.
music track.
Oh, I don't remember enough of the music. Oh no, my favorite piece of music in Elden Ring is the final boss theme.
Okay, perfect, great, excellent, awesome, hell yeah,
I
cool.
think it is easily the best
Okay,
track in the game.
okay, cool. Because right now, I have one the fucking title track, the goddamn main menu
The
is
title track is my second
powerful.
favorite theme in the game.
It's so good every single time.
Hmm.
And second for me is well, Moog, Lord of Blood version, especially like
Hmm.
the vocals kicking in on that. I heard it long enough and it just burnt in, but it's such an awesome fucking melody. I really love the Moog theme. Um, okay, good, excellent. Um, let's take a quick word from our sponsors.
Okay.
All right, guys, this week podcast is sponsored by DoorDash. So
Oh, I love you, DoorDash.
I'm going to talk to you about the utility of getting food delivered straight to your door. That's always handy.
I recently spent maybe 50 minutes on my stream last night arguing with people over the correct way to deshell eggs. And if you don't want to waste your life having that kind of stupid argument, just order the food.
Yeah, that's horrible. I'd rather get the food delivered right quick. Um, that I don't like that. Um,
It's
I
frustrating.
yeah, I was in the mood for uh, um a nice little treat just yesterday, and I got
Hmm.
it dropped off, and it was like literally within 15 minutes.
And then
Uh,
you ate it.
and then I ate it, and I felt good. So yeah, DoorDash is for those of you not in the know, you get you get on the app, you order whatever your heart's content might be, and they've got tons of restaurants, all the favorites of your area. You got the chains, the local go-tos, your mom and pops, all, over 300,000 partners. Um, means that the places you like to eat are going to be on DoorDash. And of course, not just the food that you want for dinner or for breakfast or for lunch, but also you can get your essentials, household items, corner store stuff, groceries as well available. And yeah, you can get them dropped off, even late night deliveries. And of course, you get it contactless, so you can have them just drop it off, ring the doorbell, and just like that, bam, shows up. No need to worry. So, um, they're a staple at this point for me. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off zero delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code CASTLE. That's 25% off up to a $10 value and zero delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code CASTLE. Don't forget, code CASTLE for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change, terms apply. Thank you, DoorDash.
Thanks, DoorDash.
And this week, the podcast is also sponsored by HelloFresh, who are in the business of getting you fresh ingredients, pre-portioned, seasonal
They give you
recipes.
the instructions. You make the food.
They tell you
It's
how.
done.
They tell you how, and all you got to do is look at it. And it's not like, sometimes you get IKEA instructions and you're like, what am I even looking at? I can't piece together
Yeah.
this thing.
I don't know how to put the
Fjord,
Nürburgring into the Fjorgenhagen.
and it just doesn't work. And you're like, well, I guess I'll just sit on it the best way I can put these two together, and then it all falls apart, and you go, man, these instructions are terrible. That's it, I'm taking a break. And you get up and you go and you get your HelloFresh, and then their instructions are nice and easy, straightforward. And of
The
course,
number one thing that takes time out of making a meal isn't even the cook time, it's the prep time. So the fact that it's coming pre-proportioned is actually the biggest time saver of all.
how much is a pinch of salt?
It's this much.
Yeah, what are your fingers doing? Nope, that's too much. You pinch too much.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah, well, don't got to do that. HelloFresh got you covered. And it's 72% cheaper than eating at a restaurant. You've got different menus that change. You can on a regular basis, so you can keep the variety going. They've got the ability to go with different types of recipes as well. If you're going for low calorie, if you're going for carb conscious, if you're going for something a little more green, or if you're just looking for your meats, you've got a ton of variety to choose from. And of course, the ability to just get that mix up of delivery recipes coming to you on a regular basis, however you'd like. You can get it fresh. I know we got the box with even the little cool packs to make sure that everything was
those are great.
at the right temperature, and I was like, that's next level. Good stuff on the cool packs, you know. Can't have it sitting out in a box if
that stuff, those cool packs last forever, because like there were a couple times where I brought it in from outside and like let it just sit in the kitchen for like 5 hours. It was still cold.
The tech is there. So yeah, just go to hellofresh.com/superbeast16 and use code superbeast16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That's hellofresh.com.
16 free meals?
That's a whole lot of free meals.
That's at least 3 or 4 days.
hellofresh.com/superbeast16 with the code superbeast16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That's America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh. Yeah, thanks, HelloFresh.
Thanks, HelloFresh.
All right. What is going on with you?
Well, what's going on with me is also going on with you. Today is Wednesday, June 1st, and Wooly, you had weekend plans or Monday plans, so you delayed it until today. Unbeknownst to you, however, you have delayed it to a very, very special day. And if you pay attention in the background, you may have noticed that they're in fact party hats on Skelmo and Buscemi's head. And in fact, I have my own party hat right here. And, excuse me, Zangief! Zangief, you hungry? Come here, boy! Paige, you get him in here!
2!
We have a little, he is 2 years old, but Wooly,
2.
before we, Zangief, come on. Before we give him his birthday meal and sing him his song, I'm gonna need you to put your party hat on.
Yes.
Where are you going? It's right behind you. Where are you going?
What?
Where are you going? Your party hat's right there behind you on the bookcase.
Oh. I was going to get, well, I got one anyway.
Oh, well, we pre-prepped it for you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I knew where to go get them anyway. All right, I got it.
Okay, here we go. Zangief, come here. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Zangief. Happy birthday to you. High five. There you go, buddy. Now, no candle for you, but here's your cheese.
That song is no longer copyrighted. We're allowed to sing it.
Here's the two.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you get up to some shenanigans?
Maybe. Check behind the Hulk.
I already... Behind the Hulk? What? Oh,
Yeah, there are 2 birthday hats in your vicinity.
There are multiple lying around, I see. Okay, well, I just got up and got one from above the fridge, because I know where they are. So it's fine. And,
I have
You have to keep that on,
I have to keep it on. Oh, I see.
Okay, well, you might be...
So
This is a visual gag.
The plan, specifically, I asked your wonderful wife if she could put it on your bookcase so that it would be visible the entire podcast behind you, which it is.
I see. Yes, it is there. It is true. You would be happy to know that thematically, the hat I'm wearing is in fact
Paw Patrol hats.
Yeah, Paw Patrol.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah.
So it's my dog's birthday today. Ironically enough, also literally Zangief's birthday today, the character.
Oh shit.
June 1st. Yeah. And also, with June 1st, happy month, gays. Enjoy your month.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a good one. June's a good one.
There you go. All right.
All right. Is he? Yeah, of course he's enjoying. He's a fucking pig. All right. So what's going on with my fucking week? Let's see. I got back into fucking Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous, of which I have nothing to say other than it's a good computer role-playing game,
Good
and
timing.
that it has my very good timing. It has my favorite Steam stats on it of any game I have currently played, because that game is respec heavy and it's very character buildy and whatnot. So on Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous, if I find it in my Steam, I can get the correct. There it is. It is listed as 68.2 hours and 1 achievement.
Wow. Jesus.
I got to the start of the Crusade yesterday, which is like the first chapter in the game.
Wow. That's aggressive.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you play a build-heavy computer role-playing game with the obsessive-compulsive disorder. Where you're like, well, what if I took a fucking level out of fucking Mutation Warrior and put it into Dragon Disciple? What would happen to my stats then? Also, the last time I played the game and did this, so that's actually about 30 hours split amongst 2 different attempts. The last time I actually ran into a fairly insidious bug in which a key item that you pick up locks to your inventory. It even has like a little lock symbol, and it goes into one of your weapon slots. But when you respec, it takes all the items out of your inventory. And then I sold that item to a guy who leaves the game.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, great.
Oh, no.
So to anybody playing Wrath of the Righteous, if you get the purple stone knife and respec, it goes into your regular ass inventory. Put it back into your weapon slot.
Man.
So that happens.
You know, I thought I was gonna be clever by putting Baldachin's Blessing in the item box, and it's like,
no,
go fuck yourself. You cannot.
Yeah.
The good one you can though.
Yeah, the good one though.
And did you know that if you keep it on your mimic, it can use it? Yeah.
Oh.
If you put it on your quick bar.
That's actually pretty interesting.
And you put it on your so I put it on my quick bar with some perfumes, and it'll use both.
Interesting. Yeah. That's weird. The way the mimic functions is bizarre. It's got all sorts of little goofballs. I haven't used it since our last conversation. It's insane. It's just insane. But anyway. Let's see. What else did I play? I played one of them You know, well, you're working in this business. You ever see it where it's like all of a sudden everybody's talking about the new hot shit, and you look at it and it's like, oh, you're gonna build a fort with your friends. It's literally
Mhm.
always you're gonna build a fort with your friends.
Yeah, what was the one in the woods there with the swords and the Minecraft with the swords and
Valheim.
shields? That's the one. Yeah, there you
Uh,
go.
yeah, that was that. Now it's time for V Rising, which is basically Blood Omen, but also building shit in the woods with your friends. It's like
Ah,
top
yes.
down, very Blood Omen. I streamed it earlier in the week, and really liked it, and
Hashtag
then was
sponsored.
contacted. What's then was contacted 8 hours later asking if I wanted to do a sponsored stream of it,
Okay.
and I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I did a sponsored stream of it.
Nice.
Game's great. It's early access, but it's one of those early access games that comes out and it's not broken at all. It's actually very smooth. It's just not feature complete. And it's very simple. It's go out, fight enemies with good combat, get materials, go home, build a little vampire castle that will, fucking create various materials for you to build a better castle and build better swords and armor so you can go fight more bosses. It's really positive. A lot of my friends and I fell off of it at the same point where you get to the mid game and all of a sudden it gets way harder, and all of a sudden it takes a lot longer to mine the materials you need. But basically, as soon as it gets controller support, I'll be going right back. That game's great. That game's absolutely excellent.
V Rising.
It is my favorite of hang out in a forest and build a thing with your friends games.
Okay.
By far. Easy. No question. The other only thing of note, honestly, is that I played through and beat Bioshock 1 last night. Like, I've been streaming it for about a week, and I beat Bioshock 2. Sorry, Bioshock 1 last night. And that game just completely, like, it's well known, so I'm not saying anything anybody doesn't know. That game just completely falls apart in the last 3 levels. It just absolutely, completely falls to pieces.
So
Every single part of it, the story, the level design, the fucking gameplay, it just turns to shit.
Okay, so yeah, this has been it's come up a couple times, but now that I guess it's fresh in your brain, if you're saying it in the last 3 levels specifically, that's after the twist.
The twist is so the level that contains the big twist is not great, right? It's definitely not as good as the levels preceding it, but everything in Bioshock 1 from twist forward is terrible. Is legitimately awful. And the final boss fight is right there next to Arkham Joker in terms of, like, that whole generation's boss fights were awful.
Yeah, I think like it's one of those ones where forever it's been like a situation we've talked about where you're like you pull the rug out and then it's like, oh, okay, and where's this going? And then it kind of just it peters out, but the twist itself, I feel like I could have accepted it if it worked into, I guess, like a better actual conclusion, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the ending is, like, hilarious.
You know, but then it's also one of these stories where I'm like, I don't know what I would have done if it were me, you know.
So more than anything, you get there and you can just feel the game getting ready to be over. And then you meet Andrew Ryan, and then the game keeps going, and you're like, this really feels like it didn't need to keep going. It feels like that was going to be the end of the game, actually. Because then you go on to, like, do, like, a fucking annoying escort mission and a terrible boss fight, and just all the enemies have their health values double for some reason. And it's not harder, it's just more tedious because you have to shoot more than a full clip of ammunition into them to kill them.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think too, like, you kind of go, because like Andrew at that point, he's still like the most compelling, interesting character, and then you
Yeah.
have to kind of
Easy.
replace that with now like, Twisted Atlas, which is nowhere near as interesting.
Like it's really fascinating because like you're talking to Andrew Ryan the whole time and he's like, a man is the market, and he's like crazy, but he's like interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to Fontaine and he's like, I'm evil, I'm a gangster, I want money, I'm gonna kill yous. And it's like, oh, cool. Like that's not interesting at all.
Yeah,
Like at
it was
all.
just like I forget a bunch, but I do kind of recall there's just like, you kill the villain who you were expecting to have an interesting conversation or monologue perhaps with, and now you've got a Snoke to deal with.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
100% easy. And then I loaded up Bioshock 2 like 5 minutes after I stopped my stream to be like, well, I remember Bioshock 2, people didn't like it as much, or, and I loaded up and I'm like, oh, wow. Everything about the way the game feels and plays is like 10 times better. Like not having to switch hands for your fucking gun and your plasmid, and the general movement and the general aiming is much better. Like it's a huge improvement. And I feel like that didn't get enough credit back in the day.
Although it from what I remember too, though, is like it was not including the multiplayer, though, which was completely developed by someone else and feels completely different.
What multiplayer?
There was Bioshock 2 multiplayer.
What? You sure? You sound like those people that try and convince me that Dead Space 2 had multiplayer, or Metroid Prime 2 had multiplayer.
Okay. Well, hey. I will. Metroid Prime 2.
Yeah, I knew that would get your goat. I knew it.
It wasn't great, but it was there. It showed up. It was present.
Man, that Dead Space 2 multiplayer is easily the worst of the pick. It was bad. Oh, it was not good.
Yeah, that was but that was the era when devs were just like, we must release a competitive FPS multiplayer game. This is the hot thing right now. And it doesn't matter if you have to get another studio to do it in 5 months, go do it.
Well, that wasn't even the thing. It was we need to give people a reason to keep the game after they beat it in a weekend. And you know what? I look back on that era, and particularly with the hindsight of the 7th gen, right? And how the 7th gen was awful. And I'm like, the problem wasn't single-player experiences are dying, something I have heard literally every year I have covered this industry. It was, the games you guys are releasing aren't good enough that people want to keep them and play them again in the future. Like, Arkham Asylum is not a game that I saw 100 used copies of at GameStop. Because Arkham Asylum was like a fucking certified classic the day it came out.
There was also the issue, too, of the full price, though, release for a lot of that, with no proper, like, indie market or, like, half-price market, Like, you couldn't really release things of smaller sizes up until more recent generations,
Last of Us 1 had gold multiplayer. To the point where if that Last of Us 2 multiplayer ever comes out, I would play it easy. The other thing about playing... Oh, sorry, after you.
No, I was just going to say that, like, when, like, in the 360, era, when you had your PSN games and shit like that, it was basically like there was 2 sizes of game that you were allowed to make. And anything that would like be in between that should cost perhaps something that would be like a $30 or a $40 game just couldn't find a market, and so instead you had to tack on fake value, and all that shit. So anyway, whatever. Yeah.
The other thing about going through Bioshock 1, which I want to say came out in 2007, was that you can look at a game like that and you can start to understand why people got so crazy about Dark Souls a few years later, specifically the difficulty and obtuseness of Dark Souls a few years later. Because Bioshock 1 is a game that, up until unironically the last 5 minutes of the game, was still flashing helpful tips such as loot dead bodies for ammunition. Has a arrow at the top of the screen that tells you where every single thing you need to do. All items are screaming glowing gold if you need to pick them up. Like just nonstop. Like, to the point where I had there was a point where I got trapped in a series of menus because I was trying to look at the map, but what it thought I wanted to do was hit the "what's this" button looking at a vending machine in the last level of the game. And go, and I thought I wanted to know what the vending machine was in the last level of the game. It is Bioshock 1 is a theme park. Like, the levels look open, but they're not. They're actually very linear. It's a fucking blast from the past in terms of like, oh yeah, they made game after game after game after game of like just hold your hand to the absolute nth degree, which I think Call of Duty went too far, in which Call of Duty has the big fat fucking icon above a character's head that says follow.
Yeah, I think about it as the design that's born from the dude who's got his music blasting behind him, the sound of the game is off, and he's alt-tabbing his way through this single-player adventure and whatever matches of Modern Warfare are up on on a second screen, and there's a baby crying right over there in the next room. That person needs the design of the follow, arrow, glowing, item, get it. You know, that's what I'm imagining of that era.
There was a lot of, in that time period, of like people that are just like, yeah, I don't have the sound on in any game. I was just playing metal or rap music, or whatever. I'm playing my music, and I always interpreted that in two ways. One, there's a certain percentage of people who, no matter how much they play games, they don't give a fuck about the game. The game is there to occupy their time or be an excuse to hang out with their friends, and those people will never be helped. Right? There's nothing to be done.
Well,
and the other one is like,
purpose.
Right. And the other one was like, man, you guys really aren't doing a great job with your fucking sound departments, that like a certain percentage of the people is just going, yeah, I'm just going to turn this completely off. I don't give a shit about the music. Who needs it? Who fucking cares?
Yeah, and so Demons was probably just a like vast and violent departure from a lot of that at the time.
Yeah.
And then word of mouth spread.
Like one of the things that I remember playing Dark Souls 1 in 2009 was, oh, cool. When I started a second character, you just walk past the messages on the floor that tutorialize you and just don't have to do it.
Right.
You don't have to do, like, to me, the absolute worst thing that kills a replay for a game is a like 45-minute to an hour introductory sequence before you're allowed to play the game for real.
Or you can't press
Resident Evil Village recently is the one that probably does it the worst. Like, it's like 40 minutes before you're able to actually play the game, and it's on replay. It sucks.
Booting up Mass Effect. I just to check the settings and everything. Like, you cannot press start to skip that opening cutscene. You must watch it. You must sit here and watch what we've done.
It's very important that you hear the three guys talk over the shot of the Earth, and then do, and you get the title crawl. No matter how many times you're trying to test it for the fucking stream, or what your character looks like, or going to character creation. Bioshock 1 is good, but man, it is the 7th gen game. And I also finding out that like parts of Bioshock 1 were like retroactively made worse by the Bioshock Infinite DLC sucks.
Hmm. I For me, if I have to pick the quintessential, for me it's Assassin's Creed is the 7th gen game.
Which one?
One.
No.
No?
Nah, it's 3. It's Brotherhood rather.
I mean, like awkward horse mounting and the climbing where it's like we just took and we updated the Prince of Persia system a bit. The tower system and the default Ubi system wasn't completely
It wasn't there
streamlined
yet.
at that point.
Yeah.
2 was kind of the point where it like fully showed itself.
Do you remember when? Do you remember when they got to the end of making Assassin's Creed 1 and realized the game was like 3 hours long? So they hid 400 flags in the environments.
Flags and feathers?
You're like, it's got so much content.
But that level of like sneaking and detection and stealthing and just all of that was just like, oh, this whole era is about this. This whole era becomes about this from now on.
The worst. I know this is retreading old ground, but you know what the worst thing about the Ubisoft formula is? Is that it's a good formula. It's just it's not a good formula 4 times a year for 10, 15 years.
Yeah, the thing I always talk about with Assassin's Creed isn't that I like I didn't grow to hate them out of just like fuck these. I bounced off. I grew exhausted of them. You know, like I played them and cared about them and then got tired of what they were doing. It was a slow burnout as opposed to a sudden rip.
Yeah. As for my week, I'm trying to look back at this crap. I don't know. That seems about it. Fucking Somnium Files is incredible. That is all for Pat this week. If you want to see more Pat this week, you can go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. Tomorrow I'm covering that Sony thing. And more Somnium Files. And tonight, I'll actually be covering for 2 hours or something. I'm going to take a look at Card Shark, that Devolver game about cheating at cards.
Okay. All right, so let's see what's going on. So yeah, big news drop.
There's at least 2 newses.
Well, as we were like getting started, it was like a bunch of shit was going down.
Like I woke up at 8 this morning, and from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. before the podcast, like 3 different news stories happened.
So yeah, first and foremost, shout outs to Hard Drive for having a pretty fun week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think basically like I was watching it happen live, and I think the summary article they put out is probably the best way to put the narrative together. But essentially, Hard Drive put out an article that's called "Hard Drive Apologizes to Elon Musk for dunking on him too hard," and the short, more or less, they did an exchange, because this is not the first time. There's been other times before where essentially one of their articles gets cropped, and then like their name gets cropped out of it, and it gets shared as a meme because people just do that, whatever, they steal the shit, and then he retweets it and no credit, and so he's like, hey, can you credit us? Before, I remember, it was like the last time that happened, and this time around they came back in and said, hey, we'll give you a horse if you stop cropping our name out of our articles, as they posted the Zodiac Killer letter solved by opening it with VLC Media Player, link to the actual article. And then he came back and basically said, like, there's a selfless anonymous meme creators is something to be admired, and it's a 6 on 10 meme, whatever, step down from the high horse. And then they released another article and said, okay, let me know what you think about this one. And it's Elon Musk admits he wants to travel to Mars because no one there hates him
No
yet.
one there hates him yet.
And then he said, less funny than SNL on a bad day, could make a drunk person sober, try harder. And then they replied, you're the expert on SNL's bad days, with a screenshot of him in the Wario outfit from the SNL episode.
Then he deleted his original tweet and started to pretend that the exchange never happened.
And that's the end of that.
It's nice to know that no matter how rich you are and how famous you are, how successful you are, that people who are just complete pussies are complete pussies and can't handle being made fun of.
I mean, the exchange, the back and forth seems like it invites the antagonism and the willingness to like, oh, okay, salvo, return salvo, riposte, haha, and then it gets like, then the tactical nuke gets dropped essentially, because it's like, yeah, you're beefing with like people who are funny for a living. Like, how do you think this is gonna go? And then yeah, hard drive is trending on Twitter as a result. So hey, kudos.
Good job,
kudos,
hard drive.
man.
Also, congrats to Hard Drive for correctly reporting earlier today that Sega has announced that the new Sonic game will be one of the bad ones.
So, other thing, just this week, this news from today, footage of Sonic Frontiers has released and firmly cemented. This is the second entry in the Hire This Man art style trilogy. We'll see what comes third. But I'm calling this a Hire This Man game. This is what
was the first one? What was the first one?
Jump Force.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh! All right, good.
Jump
Got
Force, and Sonic Frontiers is part of the Hire This Man category of games.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So they've showed off some footage, and here's the thing: like, the world is the beautiful grass, it's the beautiful lighting, it's realistic, and it's the Unreal, the default, again, the Sega Hire This Man bit. Looking at the footage, which is like 7 minutes initially, the honest truth is that, like, it is possible to make a game that is good and fun with this kind of lighting.
Absolutely.
And I think that they could do that, but the footage they showed off, it makes me wonder. It's like, does the realism has to come at the cost of feeling kind of stiff and sterile and tech demo-ish? You know, because you're kind of looking at the way the obstacles are implemented around the world, and it has that kind of that wooden feeling to it. But it's like, you don't.
You mean the way that like the zip lines and the fucking the loop-de-loops are just hanging in midair, completely unsupported by anything other than magic.
Well, and I think a part of it too is like when you're running around a world that has like not any real enemies or characters or things happening in it as well. It kind of it feels a bit like a Sonic dropped into the Witness kind of situation.
A little bit.
And it's like, the visual style here doesn't have to go hand in hand with this kind of like tech demo-y isolated vibe, you know? So it's a bit odd as a first look, but you know, if you show off an area that has more life to it, then perhaps, you know, this could be interesting.
So there's a couple things that I'm feeling about this, and both of those were pointed out by others before I could get to them. So credit to those people who've surfaced this thought. One, the game looks suspiciously like Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, like asset-wise.
Oh, okay.
Like I would not be surprised if they're reusing some of that. And the second of which is that Sonic Team has this tendency to show off like a Sonic game. And everyone's like, hey, that looks like a cool idea. That could be good. Needs a little bit of work, but, you know, it's shaping up. And then the release date gets announced to be like 5 months away. And you're like, oh, that's basically done, isn't it? This isn't like the prototype. This is it.
Yeah, that's that could be the case because I mean, that's exactly what I thought. Looking at this was like, okay, so like hire this man, sure, but you can still make something fun out of that. You know, like it's possible. But if this is early and what we're seeing is early, then sure, all right, let's see what it gets with more time in the oven. Um, but
No, it's coming out this year.
yeah, I'm looking for a date. It was just it was a an
No
IGN
specific date yet, but they
first.
said 2022, either November or December.
And of course, the thing is going to be like, all right, like, will every environment be an open landscape, or will there be like,
No, that's the environment.
will there be city, will there be
The
tunnel, will there be
environment that
underground?
you
You know.
see is that one. That's what it's going to be.
Anyway, that's the main thing about it is yeah, just a kind of a weird sterility to it.
I'm sure in about 15 years we're going to have a bunch of people saying how it's absolutely underrated and incredible and how it holds up just as well as Sonic Adventure 2.
It's entirely possible that they want to do some sort of like, again, the Witness or Breath of the Wild kind of bit where it's going to be Sonic in isolation solving ground puzzles. But I doubt it. You know, like that could be the point of the story they're going for, but I doubt it. I kind of imagine it's just built without other life besides Sonic running around it so far. You know, like,
Well, it is a 3D Sonic, so I'm sure there will be some speed pads that people can jump on so that Sonic goes fast and then he does a loop-de-loop and they go, "Ooh, look at the camera go!" And then some people will be happy.
the Sonic will be, the Sonic Wars will rage until like we're literally dead in the ground. Like it's gonna just it'll be a thing. And that's why I'm very excited to bring up our next topic, Pokemon.
What's that? Oh, yes.
No, listen. I mean, there's a new trailer. I don't have. There's not much to really say. The only thing to say about it is that I think is pretty cool is Toby Fox is working on the music for the overworld
that
theme
is
in this
cool.
game, and that shit is awesome because I like when Toby Fox is talented enough that he could just work on his own shit and continue to make good games and not have to really collaborate with anybody or work on other projects. But if he's going to export his skills to other things, his writing and his music are the things that are awesome that I'd love to see him work on other projects with. So that's dope.
We need to see more, but if this game takes place more after Arceus than like Sword and Shield, then yeah, this might be very interesting. Though them making like feral hot lady side cut professor and Giga Chad professor
Literal Giga Chad meme professor.
feels like they know what they're doing on this one.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I saw was the chubby guy talking too fast as the the virgin Pokemon explainer versus the Chad professor. You know, and it was the exact meme. It was just the exact meme of Giga Chad versus Virgin, and like I'm like this could have been made by Pokemon official account and put out there because it feels like when you look at the professor that's exactly what they made him for. And yes, Lechonk is there too. He's a fat pig.
He looks like my dog.
He's a chonker.
By the way, Wooly, just for technical concerns right now, is my audio crackling for you? Because I'm seeing a lot of complaints about my specific audio.
It was like an hour ago for a bit, but it's fine currently. There's a bit of a Discord hiccup earlier, but
oh, okay. Fine. Okay, that might be internet and not me. Apologies to anyone listening to this in the future.
Well, in the future it's fine because it's local recordings.
Yeah.
We'll
see. We'll see in the MP3.
Yeah, so they released a little trailer for that, and then they announced like 5 Warhammer 40K games, and it was kind of
Um,
nuts.
so I want to. Who was it that I was watching? There's a video essayist that recently put out a video called "They're Jealous of Warhammer." Racevic. It's Racevic. So, where he is jealous of Warhammer fans. And the long and short of it is that his favorite thing in the world is Mass Effect. And if he wants to play something for Mass Effect, he has Mass Effect 1, 2, or 3, or a really bad tablet game, right? But if you're a Warhammer fan and you want to play something, there is something in every single genre for Warhammer. If there's like literally 20 RTSs. There's a couple shooters, there's tactical RPGs, there's fucking space games, there's ship management games, etc. There's only one problem. About 80% of them are fucking terrible. Like a good 4 out of 5 are awful. Now that still makes them, there's actually a lot of really good ones, but a bunch of them are trash. That being said, the games that got announced today look really good.
Yeah. So like of all the Warhammer games, I'm just thinking of like the ones I actually hear people talk about, and you hear about Vermintide, you hear about Dawn of War, you hear about. I mean, for a minute there was a bit of Space Marine talk, but
Space Marine's a great game. It's just a really good action game.
But yeah, that trend of just continuing to release into every genre continues because straight up like a fuck ton of games. So first, Owlcat announced 40K Rogue Trader, which is a cRPG.
So like 2 days ago, there's rumor going around going, Owlcat's next game might not be Pathfinder. It might be Starfinder. Rumors about them doing a sci-fi computer role-playing game are coming out. And they came out and they're like, no, man, it's not Starfinder. I promise. And now today it's like, it's 40K! It's the first computer role-playing game in the 40K universe.
Have they done stuff like with those animated cutscenes in that style before?
No. That seems to be kind of new.
Yeah. So the
usual
looking
thing for 40K is just super high-end CG cutscenes.
But like that particular animated look, like, yeah, pretty interesting.
I bet that's not gonna be in the game.
No,
I bet that's it's trailer only.
Setup stuff, I'm sure, or cutscenes, whatever. But yeah, there's a bit of gameplay, and it's you're looking at classic RPG view and stuff going down.
You're gonna be dealing with the Eldor and the fucking Necron and all those fucking weirdo aliens.
You're doing Pathfinder stuff pretty much 1-to-1, I assume, right? So
it's gonna be very interesting because like humans in 40K are so unrepentantly awful and violent towards all non-humans that I'm gonna wonder how a dialogue tree with like the Eldar or the orcs is gonna work out.
I mean, I know that it's like I know that 40K is a giant, crazy, developed world with tons of millions and millions of different things stories and character types and genre and things that you can focus in on. But the shit that I always see and hear is just the biggest, most fart-sniffing pontificating about the Emperor. It seems to be like, this is the soil we plant everything on.
You're totally right. 100%.
And then that's the shit you gotta fucking put up with. So of course you're gonna be dealing with shitty humans constantly if that's what the backdrop of the vibe of the whole thing is,
Yeah, for me, it's always been like any excuse to see the cool factions. And it's why the trailer they put out makes like a note that it shows off like multiple alien factions and it's going to be about exploring uncharted space. So you're probably going to run into every notable 40K faction in some context whatsoever. You're gonna meet a Chaos guy. You're gonna meet the Tau. You're gonna meet the Necron. You're gonna see some orcs, etc.
So that's coming to consoles and PC. And right next to that was the reveal of 40K Boltgun, which
Dude,
I gotta say, like, I'm like, where are you going with this trailer? And it's basically someone pulling out their little toys, the little miniatures, right? All these memories from the past, old things. There's a fucking Element sticker from a skateboard, like at one point on a notebook, and then pulling out a floppy disk and having Bolt Gun sketched and doodled on it, popping it in, and then it loads up what is essentially 40K Doom. And it's like, yeah, they're just making their own official 40K Doom.
Like Quake, maybe, but like a boomer shooter. 40K boomer shooters.
Yeah, like the logo for Bolt Gun looks like they're doing the Doom thing, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's just like, okay, that's it. They're just pretending that this was a game from back in the past that never came out.
Yeah, and it looks like it, and it looks cool. It's a good setting for that kind of boomer shooting.
It looks better than it should be for a boomer shooter. That's the thing. It's again, it's cheating a little bit, but looks dope. Looks dope. It's
by Focus Entertainment?
Exactly, yeah. So
probably gonna cover that then. Cool. It's on Steam right now. 2023 on both of them.
So, I don't know what they did besides A Plague's Tale, but that's a fun project. Then they announced 40K Shootas, Blood and Teef, which is just orc boys running and gunning.
I did not see this one.
You didn't see?
No.
Yeah, here, Shootas, Blood and Teef.
And Teef with an
Teef.
F.
It's orc boys running around in a
doing their
like
stupid orc
Scribblenauts art style. Yeah, it's like Scribblenauts art style, and just shoot DACA.
Like Metal Slug, but
exactly.
with orcs.
Change your
That's
guns
so
up.
Stupid.
Put your shit, but just run and shoot and dumb and
I love
scream
it.
And
I fucking love it. It's great.
Yeah. So orcs get their rep.
Oh, there's a demo out for that right now.
Cute 40K is kind of wild because, like, as you're watching the trailer, you're like, okay, you can see the goofy orc, like, cartoonish art style, and it's, you know, cute and silly. But then they're gonna start fighting against real, like, 40K stuff, which is, like, dead serious and not at all, like, you know, made for this type of look. So that's gonna get weird real quick. But in any case, that's another fun one. And then they announced Darktide Rejects Will Rise, which is going under next in the Tide series.
Wait, what? Darktide Rejects Will Rise.
Yeah. Here
is that Darktide? What is that?
Oh, that's just a text. Yeah, Warhammer 40K Darktide Rejects Will Rise, and then it was pretty much just a cinematic of it, but
Rejects Will Rise is the name of the trailer. Oh, that's weird. It's just a Darktide trailer, but it is for September 13th.
Yeah, there you go.
Hooray.
So yeah, just
and it's on Steam, thank goodness.
A big old Warhammer 40K fucking announcement drop bomb today.
I want to play Darktide so bad, dude. Like, Vermintide is, like, such a legitimately fantastic successor to the Left 4 Dead formula. But it doesn't really have guns.
So is it so it's Vermintide 2, and then this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's what they announced. I think Boltgun looks sick. I wanna fucking see if that has any of the like, is it gonna play it completely faithful, or are they gonna have fun with it like in a Duskish kind of way, you know?
Boltgun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because like it's already pretty silly due to its fucking its tone and its look.
I respect the again the Shovel Knight style of keeping it, trying to keep the feel authentic. I don't mind if you do that. You know, you can go down that viable path as well. Um, yeah. So, but that's pretty much it for the Warhammer stuff.
I bet at least one of those games will be good. Man, every time I talk about Warhammer games, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about like fucking Dawn of War 3 is just bad. And that's a bummer because Dawn of War was like the absolute gold standard for the Warhammer games.
So, can you just, from what I remember last time you brought it up, you said like Back for Blood is just not at all what Left 4 Dead fans wanted. So, is this just the complete, like, this is where the entire fan base moves?
I don't quite know how to compare those two, which is weird because they're ostensibly in the same genre. Whereas Vermintide is kind of its own thing. Like it's obviously cribbing off Left 4 Dead, right? But it has its own dedicated setting, and it has it's very mission based. Like you'll pick a mission, go do it. It has a special thing, it has a special setting, and all that, and it's very well put together. And it's a really good execution on that formula. But you also have unique characters that all have different skills, like completely play differently. They have completely different moves and equipment. And so you're all mixing and matching that and that. And it works really well. Whereas it felt like Left 4 Dead combined smartly with Warhammer. Whereas Back for Blood feels like Left 4 Dead combined with a bunch of shooter concepts that I don't like over the past decade. Like, we're going to modernize Left 4 Dead with iron sights and perks and a card system, and none of that makes the game any better at all.
Hmm.
And also, its issue is that its setting is just literally Left 4 Dead, but less charm.
So I was gonna say that, like, for whatever is not this the same as Left 4 Dead, if you're going over to a Warhammer game, you still get the setting of Warhammer, which is way more interesting than whatever you're gonna fucking.
Yeah, but also mechanically, like, Vermintide's more fun. Another good example is Deep Rock Galactic, the dwarf game, where it's defending yourself against hordes of bugs, but also like literally like Minecraft or Red Faction digging into an environment to get ore for various contracts. Okay. And that game also has a really fantastic setting. It has the types of mechanics that you want, which is I want weird, interesting weapons. I don't want, like, Back for Blood has like 20 rifles. And it has the rifle that's single shot. It has the rifle that's single shot with a scope. It has the rifle that's you know, the single clip, but it's semi-auto and so on. And they're all modern guns, and they all function like a Call of Duty thing. It's like, yeah, I don't care about that. Mm-hmm. I want the guy that has a shotgun and a drill. I want the guy who has like a hook shot and like a de facto submachine gun, and maybe he can get a fancy pistol that shoots flares.
Yeah.
Like every game that does the Left 4 Dead formula that followed after Left 4 Dead is better than the one that told you it was the successor to Left 4 Dead.
Including the one by the same team.
Yeah. Well, some of the same team, because there's no one at Valve working on Back 4 Blood.
So yeah, 40K fans are feasting.
As they always are.
Good for them. Good for them.
Because those people will spend $385 on
On
a
paint.
6.5-inch piece of plastic and a single vial of paint. So Warhammer has tons of cash to throw at any project they want.
Dude, like, I shipped my friend my Kingdom Death miniatures and just said, here you go. I understand it might take literally years. Just like,
Yeah.
here you go, and let me know how it's going every once in a while, and I've been getting updates on those, and it's coming. Looks cool.
It's interesting because like I remember talking to I forget who it was. Talking to somebody who was big into 40K and Warhammer, and I'm like, the Warhammer game, the tabletop game, is actually really cool, and it's a really rad strategy game. It would be really great instead of like Total Warhammer, which is an RTS with Civ stuff in it, if they just adapted the tabletop to a video game. To which I was told that will never happen, and anyone who tries to make it happen will be disappeared because all the money comes from those little tiny figures. That whole
take
company
that away. Yep.
is built off of the crazy margins of paint and resin and fucking little plastic figurines or pewter figurines.
If you take that away, you're shooting the cash cow. Why would you do that? I mean, shit. Isn't there like a Yu-Gi-Oh game that's like recent that like is like the type of thing where now you can release it in a way that's not going to compete with Yu-Gi-Oh, since Yu-Gi-Oh cards are no longer a thing in real life, really? I don't know what I'm talking about, of course. Just full disclaimer, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But the impression I got was that Yu-Gi-Oh, the card game, is something you remember from the past. It's not going to be stepping on any toes to put out a game that can, do the same shit now, and now you can go play it that way.
Fucking, I'm just looking at like, how expensive does it cost to start playing 40K? You want a 2,000 point army? Start with a fucking $1,000.
Okay, Yu-Gi-Oh still going strong. Yu-Gi-Oh still very popular. Yu-Gi-Oh not as popular as it was back when we were in high school, so it's not being heard of as much then. Does that sound more realistic?
I actually have
I don't know.
I have a piece of Yu-Gi-Oh information for you, Wooly.
Okay.
Do you remember 2-3 weeks ago we covered the smell policy for the Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments?
Yes.
On the subreddit, somebody clarified why that rule was going into practice. It was going into practice because people were intentionally not showering and pissing all over themselves to cause their opponents to forfeit. Because they didn't want to be around or touch their opponent.
Tactical move. Got it. Cool.
It was tactical.
All right. Big wrong, more popular than ever. Okay. My bad.
Yeah, they just came out with the Yu-Gi-Oh, didn't they?
The game or another thing? I don't. I remember when basically the height of the cartoon and then the show alongside the stuff that all the kids was buying, and maybe my life just separated from hearing about it that much, so I didn't know that it continued to be very popular.
My area never got into Yu-Gi-Oh. It was all Pokemon. It was all Pokemon cards.
I mean, I have friends that basically like would detour from Magic into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, but they kind of held down the Magic thing. And I still know people that are into Magic, and they don't really talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, so I guess that's kind of, anyway, whatever. But yeah, I think I imagine that like if you just provide a tabletop simulator officially sanctioned, that is to say of Warhammer, you might step.
So you can totally play tabletop simulator 40K.
Yeah, you can put it together yourself, of course. Yeah.
but I don't think it's officially sanctioned.
I mean, same thing for Kingdom Death too, actually. Okay, so
Hey, nobody plays Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like, that shit's dead. It died. It's for dorks now. It's terrible sales. Like, they announced they would stop printing it. Right? That's what happened, right?
you can double down on my behalf. That's new tech, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can jump rails onto something that I started, and you can just carry it.
I talked to my uncle. My uncle works at the Yu-Gi-Oh factory. He said they were gonna burn all the cards because all the nerds stopped playing it. You trust me on this. They also announced that they're gonna come to your house and take your cards away.
How's that anime doing? Is the anime? Is that still going?
There's an anime? Wasn't that like 20 years ago?
Okay. What else is going on? They announced. We're moving. We're moving.
There's a new Yu-Gi-Oh anime? Are you serious? What do? They play cards?
Is that the one with Joey and the accent and the
Pegasus, and he's like, oh. This is great. I like this.
You choose to listen to this shit. All right, listener. You clicked on this, and you at home chose. This is what you clicked the play button.
You wanted
before you get upset at the stratospheric out of touchness. You chose to click play. Fuck off.
Yeah, you sat there and you said, "Listen, I'm gonna sit here and listen to these people that don't know nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh or Fate, and if I like those things, then I'm stepping into what I know."
As you get upset, just realize that it was your finger that pressed the play button. Son of a bitch. That's what you get. All right?
All right, let's move on. What do we got?
Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It's
that's cool.
The next Fallen Order bit. It's just a CG trailer, so not much to say.
Oh, man, that character's blowing up. I hope they put him in the Obi-Wan series. Who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's well, because they're announcing a bunch of stuff. They announced Mandalorian season 3 and Skeleton Crew, Jude Law, and then they announced Star Wars Andor, and I was like, oh, Andor, and they're like, no, Andor, and I was like, it's like, remember the guy from Rogue One that helps Jyn Erso? And you're like, oh my god, his name was Andor? Like, who the fuck remembered that? Like, like, Jesus Christ.
So I really have to say that
I thought they misspelled Endor for a second. I was very confused when I clicked on that.
People who used to be into Star Wars back when I was younger and who'd read all those nerd books and tell me about that blue guy who was like a general and he was really cool. Like, that was one thing. That was a sci-fi fantasy series that kind of went off the rails and had its own thing, and that was fine, I guess. The modern Star Wars shenanigans with everything in the past like 10 years that is just absolutely obsessed, fanaticized about filling in every spare moment you didn't see in between every motion picture is exhausting and uninteresting.
Well, I think you're thinking about it in the wrong way, because think about it from the point of view of you just spent billions of dollars acquiring this franchise, and you need to shove as much of it down the moviegoers' gullets as possible. And you've realized, of course, that after doing so for 6 straight years, you fucked up and there was too much, right? But all the canon and extended canon that you've canceled leaves a vacuum to fill out all those old books and things with new things that you are now in control of. and get to say what's canon and what's not or whatever. So they're filling out all the old space that they just deleted.
Like, let's take Obi-Wan, right? They're doing an Obi-Wan series that's going to take place after Obi-Wan loses or beats up the Anakin.
Larry?
And before Luke meets him in A New Hope. And it's like, there is literally nothing you can do in that story that could possibly be more interesting than Obi-Wan is depressed and just gives up and lives on some shithole planet.
But every once
Like,
in a while,
nothing.
But every once in a while, he peeks through the binoculars to see how young Luke's doing, and then he doesn't do anything again. That being said, though, this is without the context of whatever happens in later Clone Wars and stuff, which, again, I hear some cool shit, which makes those characters more interesting. So, full disclosure that there's more to that I haven't seen yet, that I've got to work up to.
Also, when you're filling in the gaps on a story like this, you have real problems with stakes. So, we're watching Mandalorian, right? In the season finale of Mandalorian Season 1, every single person on the screen is some fucking weirdo you never heard of. So, okay, anything could happen. You're watching the Obi-Wan fucking shit, and Child Leia is running away from some goons, and you're like, oh, I hope they don't catch her. Yeah, me too. I hope they don't catch and kill Princess Leia as a child.
I think the momentum they got by going into Mandalorian, like Season 2, and then some of the other stuff was like one where at first they were like, let's stay far away. Let's keep distance between us and the canon characters. You can still take place within the canon, just far over there on that planet, you know? And then like the testing of the waters worked out, so now they're more and more willing to go into it.
It's a relatively unique problem that I can only think right now off the top of my head that Star Wars has, in which, like, when you do a prequel, you're starting from anywhere, but it has to end up where it is. When you're doing a sequel, you're starting from the last point, but you can go anywhere. But, like, these in-between shits, it's like, it has to start here, and it has to end here, and there's, like, no wiggle room at all.
Okay, but hold on, though. Little kid Leia gets caught, and then a bunch of reunion ghosts start flying around.
Oh, yeah.
And then they get in the way, and you're like, no, wait, we have to save her.
You did it.
And the reunion ghosts create a big wall, and you're like, but how?
He figured out the secret. Listen, man. Hey, listen. I don't want to ruin you. I don't want to ruin your excellent goof. But I would like to point out to you that has actually already happened in Star Wars.
Stop it. Get to the end of the highway.
I think it's in Clone Wars or Rebels. There is a sequence in which Darth Vader confronts Ahsoka, and he's gonna kill her, and then they run away, and they never see her again, and then she's never seen again. And then they go to the Super Force Temple, and they look through a time portal, and they just jump through and grab her and yank her out the portal and go, you get to be in Star Wars again.
Luke is trying to fire the final shot into the Death Star, and then the ghosts just get in the way. Like, oh no!
Like that happened.
And then he flies into a white void, and
I don't care what anyone tells me, and somebody writes out that was the plan all along. I can't see anything other than I decided to kill this character or put them in a bad situation, and unironically could not figure out a way to get them out of it other than, fuck it, just drop them through a magic fucking portal because I decided that I wanted to keep using this character. Like, absolutely dumb. This is fucking stupid.
shout outs to the fan service
Stumped. It's
portal.
stumped.
The fan service portal is it takes balls. It takes balls to go that road with it. And I when I first saw the Clone Wars was like, again, in that first like movie, that was the first CG movie that was not very good, and you know, all the stuff, the improvement comes later. But the introduction of Ahsoka as a little kid, you know, the little whatever apprentice, that's kind of like the annoying kid. I remember just kind of thinking like, are you just introducing this child to Anakin as his apprentice so that he's going to murder the shit out of them when he becomes Vader and starts going around like? And is it just to set up the horror of that moment?
Yeah, he's a bad man.
And it seems it was not.
He's not a good guy.
But that's kind of what I thought, was like, oh, you had a character that followed him around that he was close with, and we all know where this ends, therefore that must be pretty fucking nuts, right? And it's like, well, maybe not. Maybe not. Anyways, that's what's happening. And the sad part too is like when you look at the announcement tweet that Respawn put out, it's just immediately everyone underneath it is just like, hey guys, remember Titanfall? Hey, look at what's happening to Apex servers. Hey, look at what's happening.
Yeah, that's never gonna go away.
You know, and then of course people being like, yo, just get the fan server going. Anyway.
Wooly, do you think the guy in the Kolto tank in the Jedi thing, do you think that could be Star Killer?
Depends on how he holds his lightsaber.
I think that might be my favorite part of it, is that the fandom of Star Wars is like so creatively bankrupt that the instant they see some random person, they go, could that be already existing character, instead of, oh, who's that?
Yet at the same time, like that single piece of like Revan helmet that showed up once in the Ghost of a Fart somewhere, like 8 seasons in, it was just like, wait, what?
You know what?
Where?
You guys are right. It is Gulp Shitto. You're right. Or Glup Shitto. Is that his name? Oh.
One peek at a slight hint of a Revan helmet, and everyone freaks out, though. We're all back. You got me. You show me a Revan helmet, and I'm losing my shit. You know?
Oh, it's that guy. You know what the funniest thing is when Revan actually unironically showed up and spoke to people in a Star Wars game again, it was just like,
the Old Republic stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a problem here, and the problem is that you're locking Revan into what Revan looks like, what Revan acts like, what Revan likes, if he's evil, if he's good. Like, right away, there's a problem.
Yeah. It's Revan is the mask, you know? Anyway. So there's that, and then... Well, no, Revan is not the mask. That's a reductive statement. Revan is a lot more, but the mask represents all the choices that your Revan could have been, is what I actually should elaborate to say. They announced that... want to put an indie game on the radar, but this shit looks fucking hard. Check out Blocky Dungeon. Here, I'll send you a little link to that.
I saw that, actually.
Yeah, I retweeted just the imminent future. That is basically me spending forever on Steam playing this game. It is Tetris, but when you drop the block, it becomes a part of a dungeon, and then you have a little adventurer who is moving through the dungeon and clearing the monsters to clear the lines as you play Tetris, and the walls of the blocks create rooms for the little knight to progress upwards, and it seems as if there's a score point and then perhaps like an exit that'll be, you know, on the map towards the top or something like that. I'm not 100% certain, but it looks fucking cool. And it's Tetris with
a super cool idea.
Yeah, Tetris with a little adventure happening in the middle of the blocks, and I'm super interested in where this goes. Love me some Tetris. Love Tetris remix ideas. Tons of fun. So yeah, just I retweeted that. Just another one of these, like, okay, don't know when it's coming out, but throw it on the wish list and we'll see it when we see it.
Yeah, straight up listed as when it's ready.
And then this is funny because we've often seen stories and talked about how the reason why copyright law in America exists the way it does, especially for things that are over 100 years old, is because Disney single-handedly is forcing and holding it back by adjusting and updating the law to always specially allow them to continue to own Mickey Mouse and all of the Disney characters.
Author's lifetime plus 20, author's lifetime plus 40, author's lifetime plus 75.
They keep updating it so that things that are 100 years old, which are supposed to enter public domain, don't necessarily do so. Eventually, it got to a point where it was also author's lifetime plus the time, and they can still maintain their depictions of characters that have originated elsewhere. But when you don't get full control of the situation, you get Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is a horror-themed Winnie the Pooh slasher film coming out, and it was announced. What was it? What's currently June? The original Winnie the Pooh stories lapsed into public domain 5 months ago. And
immediately, let's fucking hop on this shit.
Immediately, they showed off that Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the horror movie, is coming, which will involve Winnie and Piglet going on a rampage. And it's all creepy Five Nights at Freddy's mask shit going on. And yeah, like they wasted no time getting in on that.
Not a single time wasted.
Seems like they've also announced alongside the screenshots that like they're hyper aware of the legal tightrope they're walking.
Oh yeah.
And they've got their lawyers at the ready, and essentially they're going to be making sure that this only resembles the 1926 version of it, and nothing from the copyright that Disney can claim they created with their version of Winnie the Pooh. So they're treading the fine line, but they know exactly what they're doing here. And I think, I mean, there's other things like this too. Like we've talked about how James Bond is public domain in Canada.
Yeah.
Right. So there's weird ones that are like specific.
But that only currently
areas.
works if you distribute it only in Canada.
Yes, of course.
Which is where it gets really goofy. So you could totally write public domain James Bond fan fiction officially.
Make your own James Bond movies.
As long as you only release it in Canada.
Yeah. If you've got the budget, you can literally shoot your own fucking 007 franchise up here and just keep it here. Yeah. Yeah, so more on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey as it comes. But
yeah, basically don't put a fucking red shirt on him and you're probably good.
Is he wearing a red shirt in the... let me see. Piglet just looks like an evil fucking pig. Winnie, can't really tell. He's too much in the dark, but he's got the ears. He's got the ears and the creepy eyes. So it's a plaid shirt. It's a red plaid shirt.
As long as it's not a pure red shirt, you're probably good.
See, now, if you really want to commit to the bit, though, plaid shirt and nothing else going down.
Oh, yeah.
That's the accurate horror. So, looking forward to that.
If he wears pants, you're probably good.
Let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send in a letter explaining to Wooly how popular Yu-Gi-Oh is, you can send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. You can even put a funny joke in there, like that he has activated your trap card. Good one.
You did it. Let's see. Well, you've activated the fucking. You brought up
I
the
sure
smells,
have.
the smells again, and then that's gonna. They're not gonna like that. So.
Oh no.
Let's
see if they...
Here we go. We got one coming in from Zuzu says, "Dear Pat and Wolves, I've been getting into pinball recently. I've known for a while
rules.
that modern pinball machines can connect to the internet and download software updates for bug fixes, scoring updates and stuff. Even entire new modes can be added with these updates. But it wasn't until recently that I found out that some machines are treating these like early access games. For some machines in the last year, there are features and modes that are listed on the graphics and the physical machine that have not been coded into the software yet. It's cool to see that these machines can get large updates, but it's also concerning that something that's an $8,000 plus machine can be sold in a state where some people would call it unfinished. What are some other industry trends you could see or wouldn't want to see reaching their way into other more niche industries?"
Wow, that sucks, by the way.
That does suck, because the ultimate pinball machine like would be something that was a simple template that could rise blocks and obstacles up according to like a downloaded map. You know what I mean? Imagine like the ball and the physics of the flippers are real and the same, but the actual obstacles are based on like a pixel grid that could uniquely create different obstacles according to whatever the fuck you download. That'd be super cool, right? But by adding this whole thing to sell features that don't literally exist in the game yet, that shit sucks. That's a lot of money to spend on something that you're not actually getting a full featured game for. And it reminds me aggressively, actually, of the thing you're complaining about. There's a whole subject of this called the Internet of Things. And what I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's like the concept of the Internet of Things is adding internet connectivity to objects and machines that don't fucking need it, right? And it's been going on for a while now, and like you can actually there's a Twitter account called Internet of Shit, and it archives examples of Internet of Things falling apart, where you literally have, like, one of the infamous ones is a stove that requires you to connect and create an account on their website before you can use the fucking thing. You have to log into your stove for it to actually use its features, and it's a GE appliance. I remember that was a big one that went around not too long ago.
Man, that's a pile of shit right there.
Yeah, there's literally a screenshot of, like, the smart oven requires a Wi-Fi connection for the best experience. Connect to unlock the latest features and receive important software update. Fucking, you're an oven, asshole.
Turn the heat on if you oven eat hot the food.
And it's a great account. I definitely recommend it. Internet of Shit. They also show you this toilet installation is connected to Microsoft Azure IoT Central. Right?
Like, I'm good, man.
Literally, a fucking data privacy potential breach on your toilet. And what was there's like a mirror in a bathroom that says, "Oops, looks like your mirror is not connected to a network." And then it's showing you the phone to fucking log in. Horrifying, garbage, shitty usage of the future.
What does a fucking mirror even do? I don't.
It's it's all these features of like, here, there's this cool tech we can give you in a basic appliance, but now you have to mandatorily create your account, send us your data, all that shit.
So I don't think anything tops the integration of things that doesn't need to be there, like the Wi-Fi integration of pacemakers.
Yep. Well, that's
number one, easy. Like my dad has a pacemaker in which his doctor can scan a thing over it locally, so they don't have to open him up. But it doesn't connect to the internet. It connects to whatever device. Like, it's basically like, I don't know, like those beepy things. But there are Wi-Fi pacemakers out there that were put out on the idea that your doctor could monitor your heart health in real time, only to have some of them be hacked.
Well, so this is where there's no way to bring that story up without immediately thinking of the story of the guy who was going to basically do a warning symposium on how you can hack and essentially death note somebody via their pacemaker with Wi-Fi connectivity, and then he died before he could actually give that speech.
Oopsie doodle. He had a little oopsie.
He had a little oopsie. Getting into that sketchy territory out there, but like, yeah, apparently hackable pacemakers is a problem, and instead of fixing the problem, let's fix the problem.
We fixed it. Yay!
Another infamous example, of course, is the Juicero, which I didn't know about until way too late, actually. But apparently, a couple years ago, there was a juice press that raised like millions of dollars from investors, and was just this. It's just a juicer, but it was just a fucking Wi-Fi connected bullshit Silicon Valley jerk off machine.
Right.
That like promised all these features when it's just like, motherfucker, just juice the fucking fruit. It's real simple.
Mashed it.
And yeah, it just squeezed the bag. It wasn't a juicer, right? Yeah, there you go.
The company which offered pre-sold packets of diced fruits and vegetables that you just plugged into their $400 machines.
There you go. Yeah.
Are you serious? It was like a fucking Keurig machine, but for fruits and vegetables?
It doesn't even do the juicing. It just squeezes the bag. There you go. And then
Hey, I got a juicer for this bag. It's called my fucking fist.
And there's a bunch of ads and like all this tech shit showing off it looks like a high-end Apple device when you see it. Like it's pure. It's the perfect example of just this internet of shit that we're talking about. And then there's one other example too, where I remember seeing meat in a container, like a steak cut, locked behind a QR code scan.
Nice.
You know, that you had that once you bought the meat with you had to use the QR code to unlock the container to access it. So, I mean, it's a whole subject. So what you're talking about with the pinball is just, it's the internet of shit. It's crazy and it sucks.
I think one of the worst things that we could have happen, taking stupid industry stuff from video games and bringing it into the quote-unquote real world, is if we took like the gacha system where you open up like a pack of something and some of them were good and the others were just trash, and applied it to other stuff. Like I wanted to go to the store and buy like a figurine, but most of the time it was like a shitty figurine, but sometimes it could be the good one, or like maybe with cards. That would be awful. If that happened.
What kind of cards?
Like playing cards, like card game cards.
Okay.
If you like opened it up and like most of the cards in the pack were terrible, but there was maybe one good card in there sometimes, that'd be awful.
Well, I mean, you could always buy them in bulk with your friends and pass the packs around to ensure that everybody gets something.
Yes.
Decent.
That'd be a good idea.
Well.
Hey, by the way, I'd like to write in an email because there's something I forgot to talk about. I'm going to write in an email. The castle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Wooly, did you see that Diablo Immortal? Holy fucking shit.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Shit. That was that's fuck. Sorry. Yes, that is on the docket, and I completely looked over it because we went right into hard drive. Yeah. So, that's a fun one. Diablo Immortal is out, and speaking about the cards and the loots and such, it seems that part of the game's features here. There's a little Twitter thread where Stephen Totillo was playing with the multiplayer mode, and the reward for completing a dungeon was the access to purchase a Mad King's breach trove, excuse me, which is a special treasure chest loot box that includes tons of loot and gear and all that stuff, which is
It's a 570% bigger
extra
value.
but it's only 99 cents, and there's only one available, and you only have access to purchase it right now, this one time offer upon completing the dungeon and beating the Mad King. And the process of minimizing the game to post this ridiculous shit on Twitter made the offer go away. So it is not only that completing things in the game earns you the the chance to spend more money, but you cannot even get another off. You can't get it again. It is one time ultimate FOMO. Don't you dare look away. If we detect you looking away from your phone, because we can do that now, the offer will be rescinded.
So yeah, people are playing it, and the beta was favorably received in that it was apparently a fun game deep down. But then the live version went up, and it is the most aggressive, predatory, microtransaction laden, fucking nonsense in which you are getting like Diablo's a loot game. You're getting it's not cosmetic. You're getting real ass rewards for your video game. It is a pay to win game, and on top of that, as a bonus, before I saw any of this, I wanted to check it out this morning because it's ostensibly free to play. So I started to download it, and it's like 13 gigs.
Oh yeah,
it's fucking stupid gigantic, to the point where all the separate downloads, like it separates the downloads into like 10 different compartments, and if you manage to download the whole thing, they give you a monetary reward. They give you like 50 of their gold fun bucks.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so it's a free to play game. I didn't even fully register that. Okay, so free to play, you get the license to be even more egregious about your shit. You've earned the right to pay us money is a hilarious screen, and you're only allowed to get this offer once. Don't think about it. Press the buy button or it's gone.
It is the absolute worst thing you could possibly do to the Diablo formula, because the Diablo formula is, let's go kill Leoric, the Skeleton King, who is the boss listed in this screenshot. He's one of the first bosses in Diablo, always. He's great. He's a big skeleton man. You kill him, maybe he'll drop his crown. Maybe he'll drop the mace. Maybe he'll drop a unique. Maybe he'll drop just a good rare. And instead, you kill him, and it goes, "Hey, motherfucker, do you want to buy a loot box?"
And we've laughed at the concept of how this scummy, the scummy loot box world and shit, and mini buy world has always been very comparable to the used car salesman. But now you've upgraded that tech, and you've introduced the used car salesman who says, "Now listen once. I'm going to give you an offer on this, baby. And if you walk off this lot, I'm taking that offer back." This Civic, the moment you turn around, you don't have time to think, I'm going to give you an offer. But if you leave right now, that's it. So you think long and hard about whether you want to leave.
So I'd like to point out that Path of Exile is free and is a really great game. And on top of that, I feel like one of the reasons that game has its own issues, but it feels like they wanted to get out in front of this because their last big update, they made it so that the cosmetic items you get out of their loot boxes no longer have the chance of dropping duplicates.
Okay.
So in Path of Exile, you used to be able to get duplicates, but you would be able to combine different duplicates together to make a shiny, fancy thing.
Okay.
They have recently updated their loot boxes in order so that you can't get duplicates. So there is an upper limit on your loot box shenanigans in that game that, again, is only for cosmetics.
Okay.
Not actual fucking video game-ass
In-game
rewards.
shit. Yeah. Okay. So, between last week and this week, I get the feeling that Diablo Immortal is fighting to work its way into the crosshairs for, there's a seat you can sit in. That it becomes you're going to be a weekly topic of discussion.
I don't know about that, but I mean, they started off strong this week. One, it's a fucking predatory pile of shit, and two, it did not release in Belgium or the Netherlands because it goes directly against recently enacted gambling laws in those territories.
Yeah, I imagine Australia probably too. Then, right? They have
We'll see.
The strict.
Currently, it is banned in the Netherlands and Belgium.
Okay.
We will wait and see just how much new legislation is made in places as a direct result of this game. It's really weird because legislation's starting to happen in places, and the solution seems to have been for Immortal to hit it as hard as you can hit it before the hammer comes down.
In the places where you're allowed to. See, because I feel like in some cases, right, the option is you have to, for example, you have to show the percentages, right? I think like China rolled that out.
China mandates that.
Right, you have to show the percentages. And I'm kind of wondering if, like, are we going to hit a point where, like, given the opportunity to just to display the truth of the percentages or not, they're just going to go, fuck it, we're just not releasing in that territory. We'd rather just hide it from you, Oh,
there are mobile games that have done that, in which they release a different version of the game in China. That's just different enough that the percentages in China are only for China.
There you go. Anyway, like I said, Anthem was in that seat for a while, and Fallout 76 was in that seat for a while, and we'll see how Immortal shapes up, but it's good. It's good. That's fun. It's fun to hear about.
Yeah, it gets overused, but I legitimately, you can't look at the way Diablo Immortal monetizes and call it anything but predatory.
And you get leeway for being free to play. When your whole thing is we're releasing it free to play and then we're gonna make our money elsewhere. I'm gonna give you a little bit of bandwidth for how you approach that.
A smidgen.
Yeah. Anyway, let's take one over here from Zolgum says, Dear Commander
Zolgum,
Red and Staff Officer Black of the Red Ribbon Army, I am currently playing Warframe, and it's still pretty new. It's really new to the mechanics and stuff. And one time the other night, I noticed that on the neck of my Warframe character, there's suddenly a weird pink and black gross-looking thing. I looked it up, and it turns out that I have a cyst that's related to the Infested, which is basically like the Flood. Yeah. And apparently it passes from player to player. So I had two options. I could get it removed immediately with no penalty, though it never grows again in the same frame, or I could let it grow and after a week or two use it to craft a powerful kind of companion creature. I removed it immediately without a second thought because fucking gross, get that space gonorrhea shit off of me. What are some times when you gave up on something that could be potentially cool or gameplay rewarding because of the visceral physical repulsion of how it looks, sounds, etc.? That's pretty funny. I can think of actually recently some of the best immunity so far in Elden Ring is the mushroom armor. Holy fuck, get that shit away from me and put it in the box. It's gross. I hate it. Reggie really fucking like freaked out too. Like we're just like, oh god, this is horrible. I am not interested in that. I don't care what the immunity is. In the box you go.
Never.
Okay, well there you go.
My thing is the one thing that'll kill it for me is if something feels bad. So if something is the best thing, but I don't enjoy its feel, it doesn't matter. So like, hey, here's a strength weapon in Dark Souls that's the strongest strength weapon by 40%. It's totally the best. Yeah, but I don't really like the way it swings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the animation that much.
Oh yeah, that's kind of the same thing
into
in
the bin.
reverse, right? Where it's like this is really good, but yeah, okay. I mean, I remember I picked up a sword that I was told is like, oh yo, this is a really amazing int sword. It was a Lazuli Glintstone sword, where it shoots a little, and it's like, yeah, this stats they reward you, and the scaling is good and cool. And then I swung it around. I'm like, it's just a straight sword move set. I'm already yawning.
It sure is.
I'm good. I'm gonna go another way on it, you know. But that's me. Yeah, fuck that weird shit though. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, we did it. Good podcast, Wooly. And happy birthday, sleepy boy over there.
Happy birthday, Geef.
He's a man now, no longer a puppy, officially.
Is that the scaling? 2? Age 2?
Yeah, because a lot of dogs will start to keep growing until like 20 months. So 2 is like adult.
So there's no more size change.
No, he's done. Well, if we massively overfed him, he would get larger sideways.
Yeah, but like in terms of a like
he's not gonna get taller or longer or more muscular.
In a Pokemon evolutionary sense, that's the biggest his bone structure is going to be.
He's about 75 pounds now, and so that's his max size unless he get real fat.
Okay. Well, there you go. Enjoy manhood, Zangief. Right on.
Well, he's got no balls, so he's not going to enjoy it that much.
I mean, like that's the.
You'd think that would make him stop masturbating so much, but hey, dogs.
Like I don't know, take him out to a fucking doggy strip club, or you know.
No. Without his balls, all he wants is food.
What are you?
We gave him He gave him cheese and apple and a sausage, so he's having it. That's why he's dead over there. He's asleep.
Lovely. All right.
Have a good week, everybody.